Ride around Nairobi.
There are so many people peddling what is false and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog,
He's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Afande hii umbo yako iko na
hii ni umba special.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you, because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us, assert our will.
When the legislature are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality. We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi Lokop is Jeshi la Wokovu?
I can't say it very well. No, ni mtu wa Jeshi Lokop.
Spice FM, Nyeri.
Oh, great. Let's see what Tuesday morning has in store. We started the week on a slow note and there was not much traffic yesterday. Tuesday morning seems to ring in with a bit of action already, starting on Jogo Road this morning. And we're looking at Haile Selassie Avenue, already quite busy. That's in and outbound, stuff coming off railways and bouncing off of the roundabout just past Nyayo Stadium on Uhuru Highway. We have some traffic going into Westlands and coming out of Westlands as well. Thika Superhighway has not yet woken up from the holidays and we still see that it is clear and smooth even at 6 o'clock. Not much of an issue here at all. Coming out of Westlands also looks pretty good. We're looking at the northern bypass, eastern bypass, also quite smooth. North Airport Road not taking too much of a hit right now. As well as Langata Road, also looking pretty good this morning. Southern Bypass, you want to see what the city looks like at a few minutes after 6 o'clock without a stop of traffic anywhere. You might want to think about that one. On Mombasa Road this morning, right around the Maradaima turnoff, that's where you'll see some traffic today. Apart from that, nothing crazy at the moment. We'll keep an eye on things for you. Let us also know where you might be stuck this morning as things get up from a dull roar. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Broadcasting worldwide, Spice FM. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up,
How are you
not
doing?
down.
It's the 4th day of January 2022, and it's coming up to 10 minutes after 6. A very good morning to you. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Ndu Okoh and Eric Latiff with you today, taking an extra couple of days to fully recharge his reserve batteries. The main batteries are full.
The reserve is what we're looking for.
He's doing the reserve.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I am fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Things are good in your neck of the woods?
They are. As I left them, they were well.
Super duper.
Yes. And you, how about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Niko fine, thank you.
Uko fine, thank you.
Yangu ni fine, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So we have a couple of conversations to look at today, looking at what has happened in the news in the last couple of days. Yes, there's that entire very unfortunate attack of villagers in Lamu, and we'll be looking at that and what the security forces are doing. We'll also be looking into the next couple of days in Parliament, what we expect to see as members of Parliament return to continue debate on the political parties amendment bill. We'll have somebody from the Centre for Multi-Party Democracy, the executive director, will be joining us at 8 o'clock to look at that bill. What's the whole furore about this bill? What is it? So who's bringing the bill, or what do they want? And what's wrong with it? What's good about it? So we'll discuss that about 8 o'clock. And also, we'll share other conversations. Let's go into COVID and COVID in numbers. What's the latest?
So yesterday was not a really good day in Kenya. We're looking at a positivity rate that has just gone above 30%. Remember, what we're trying to do is keep things under 5%. If you go above 30%, then we have a problem here. That means, you're looking at a third positive of those having been tested come out positive. That's the third that you're looking at, and it's not a good thing. If we can keep things under 30%, according to Dr. Amoth, then all right, maybe we can see how we can handle things. It goes above 30%. This is when you get into a bit of a worrying stage. So we shot up to 30.6% yesterday. CS Kagwe said the country had posted 1,223 positive cases. This was from a sample size of 4,000. So now the results we're looking at yesterday were from cases that were done over the weekend. 10 people succumbed to the disease, taking fatalities to 5,394. So there's an uptake of the second dose. There's also an uptake of booster shots for quite a number of people. And so we also know that we surpassed the 10 million mark. We're looking at 20 million more people being vaccinated by the end of the year 2022. Now, between March and December last year, we were able to do 10 million people rather. So looking at doubling the number in just 3 more months of what we did last year. And that's the intention. So this includes everything from first, second, and
so they want to do what?
Shots.
20 million by the end of?
This year.
So 10 million people in 12 months.
No. So that you get to 30 million at the end of this year. So we are saying an additional 20 million vaccines would have been administered this year.
It's doable.
Right? So in 12 months to vaccinate 20 million.
It's doable.
Right? So that is what the hope is that will happen. All right. The World Health Organization is quite optimistic about beating COVID-19 in 2022. The chief, Tedros Ghebreyesus, warned against narrow nationalism and vaccine hoarding in a New Year statement. And he said, again, the message is, please let's be careful. We have the vaccines available in some countries. You even have a surplus. Share it. Give it out. Let people get vaccinated. 287 million. I think it's slightly more than that around the world who have COVID, who have been tested COVID positive. 292 million is what we're looking at. And 5.4 million.
This is all in total?
This is in total.
Okay.
5.4 million deaths globally. And again,
how many people are critically ill at present?
So 255 million have recovered. So we're looking at about 40 million people on the globe currently who are ill with COVID.
Okay, who are positive with COVID. How many critically ill?
Positive.
I think it's somewhere there on the columns, isn't there?
Okay, so we're looking at daily deaths.
Serious and critical, 90 million.
Serious and critical, 90,000.
90,000.
right? Active cases of 32 million. So we're looking at that, around about 40 million. 90,000 are critical on the globe.
Not so bad.
No, not so bad.
Not so bad. Not so bad. Okay. So just to remind you, yes, you can get your COVID vaccine from various health facilities across the country. You can also get your booster shot if you've already gotten your entire COVID vaccine. You can go for your booster shot. You can also take your 15 to 18-year-old children to go and get a Pfizer vaccine as well. Yep. Mm-hmm. So take advantage because the vaccines are available. It's 6:15. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. We're live streaming the show as we always do. SpiceFM KE on YouTube and Facebook. And we're also live, of course, on SpiceFM around the country. Are you online? If you are, say hello to us. We'll be saying hello to you shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. Spice FM.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, everybody steals. It's better a thief who brings something small back. And I say to myself, there's no better thief. A thief is a thief, period.
All those bribes, how much they're getting per year, how much inconvenience they're causing. As much as you call it a small case, it's worth it to be convicted.
The truth is, we are a tribal nation. Because if we were not tribal, and I want to go back to this, you cannot continue walking around with a mug which is clean outside and it's rotten inside.
We have become a fuliza country. We have mortgaged our country because of debt.
You've got one chef working and the assistant chef wakati anatakana koroge unga nini hayuko.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Clear conditions this Nairobi morning, 16, highs of 27 today. It's clear at 14 in Nakuru, highs of 28 and lows of 13. We're looking at clear conditions in Nyeri as well at 12, with highs of 24. We'll see lows of 11. Eldoret is clear at 10. That'll be today's low, going to highs of 26. In Mombasa this morning, it's clear currently at 25 as the sun comes up, highs of 33 and lows of 23 today. Malindi, clear at 27, highs of 31. Things might change. We'll take a look at that. Lows of 23. Kisumu is clear at 19, highs of 29. And in Kakamega, it's mostly clear at 15. Highs of 31 today will get quite warm to lows of 15. Kampala is mostly clear at 20, highs of 28 and lows of 18, while Dar es Salaam is partly cloudy at 27. We'll see highs of 33 today. Johannesburg, clear at 15, highs of 26, coming down to lows of 15, while we look at mostly clear conditions in Lagos at 27, highs of 32 and lows of 25. It's raining in Kinshasa this morning at 23. That'll be today's low, going to highs of 29. It's sunny in Beijing at around degree of 1, highs of 3 and lows of -9. Raining in Paris this morning, and there's a flood warning. See highs of 10 and lows of 2. 9 degrees and clear in London, highs of 9, just that today, and lows of 3. It's -3 Monday night in New York. Coming into Tuesday, it'll be a warm high of 0, and lows of -5.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
18 minutes after 6. Who's online?
Everybody. Nelson Masiko says, good morning. He's tuned in from Mbakasi this morning. And Chris Amolo, good morning, great family. Well, good morning to you. Tuned in from 102.5 FM. Where's that? Kisumu. Happy to be part of the great team indeed. Very happy to have you on board this morning. Simon Murakana is tuned in from Buyai Marachi Busia. Magoti Yakunguni is asking for the Nairobi frequency. 94.4.
Ati, who's that?
Magoti Yakunguni. 94.4 is what you're looking for in Nairobi. Robert Mbogo says, good morning from Mombasa. Daniel Kitiku, good morning to Eric and Happy New Year to you too, Daniel. I hope CT is okay wherever he is. He's getting stronger, that's for sure. Tuned in from Mbere North in Embu. Victor says, good morning. Ambai CT likizo itaisha tu.
Ambia CT.
Ambia CT likizo itaisha tu. What's likizo?
Holiday.
Oh, holiday. Holiday, Taisha. Macadero Mike says, good morning and Happy New Year, my good people. Another beautiful year, and we are indeed. Let the Situation Room continue. City Muga Ayaore Baba. Amesikia. Salalheri nyote, County 001, Kwisha Rauka. Awake.
Si Ruaka.
I was very close.
Ruaka imerauka.
Rauka. Nashon Musa says Kayol is listening, and Jamal is tuning from Kakamega. Babe Ashley, Happy New Year to you, my dear. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Karibuni, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today's proverb, still in the land of the Somali. One doesn't tell a man, go away, but one shows him something so that he'll go. Get it? You get it?
I get it. If you don't get it?
You don't get it, forget about it. One doesn't tell a man, go away, but one shows him something so that he'll go.
So that he will go away. You don't have to use your... Okay, I like it very much. It's true.
Don't just go. No.
You won't go.
No. Be tactful about it.
Okay.
Akufukuzae hakwambii toka. Yes, that's what they say in Kiswahili. Let's take a look at the newspaper headlines this morning. Okay, remember you can access the Standard e-paper from wherever you are, okay? So just www.standardmedia.co.ke, and then you sign up and you'll have access to the Standard e-paper. Get all premium content in addition to getting access to the free Sudoku on a daily basis. Have you ever completed a Sudoku puzzle?
I have never completed Sudoku. Ever. I've started several times. I've never finished. Crosswords I have.
I've finished a couple of Sudokus. And then you're like, okay, so how did I do that?
There's no formula to the thing.
Yeah. And yet there are people who just look at it and they can see the numbers, just
put them in place.
Anyway, so free Sudoku on Standard e-paper. Okay, so in the headlines?
So there's a very sad story of this attack in Lamu County yesterday. 6 killed. Just looking at the subheads there. Police believe victims, all men, were tortured before being shot in an attack similar to others carried out in 2014 and 2015. So this is not a new kind of occurrence. Lamu leaders and tourism players appeal for information on those behind the macabre raid. Security officers have launched a manhunt for militants who killed 6 people at Wido shopping center in Lamu County on Monday morning. Yesterday, police said among those killed was a village elder identified as Joseph Mwagi. He was stabbed several times in the stomach before being beheaded. So we're talking about some gruesome stuff that happened yesterday. Mwangi was killed inside his house before it was set ablaze, according to a report filed at Kibaoni police station, some 8 kilometers northwest of the crime scene. Excuse me. The body of Francis Kamau, who was reported missing Monday, was found on the road in Wido with gunshots to the head. Police believe Kamau was tortured and forced by his captors to lead them to the other 5 victims. Kamau had mysteriously disappeared on the 2nd of January. His body was found on the road within Wido Shopping Center and had gunshot wounds to the head, this according to the report. Lamu County Commissioner Samson Masharia said the raiders attacked the sleepy village about 4 a.m. Monday. They did not steal anything from their victims. Masharia said they are yet to establish the number of the assailants and their motive. He, however, said it was highly likely to be linked to the Somalia-based Al-Shabaab militants. 2014, Kenya military had been battling on an Al-Shabaab offshoot, Jeshi La Ayman, believed to be operating from the expansive Boni forest in Lamu. The group is blamed for a myriad of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, attacks, especially against security personnel involved in Operation Linda Boni Forest. In May last year, interestingly enough, 8 Kenya Defence Forces soldiers were killed and several others injured after their vehicle hit an IED at Baure in Lamu West. The soldiers were travelling from the Baure camp in a Land Cruiser to the Kenya-Somalia border, where construction of a wall is still going on. Yesterday's attack had some similarities with the 2014 and 2015 attacks in Mpeketoni and Hindi. In all the 3, the assailants tied their victims' hands to the back before they slit their throats. According to the police report, 5 of the 6 killed at Murimi Mangwe had their hands tied from behind and then were beheaded. The attackers also burnt their victims' houses.
And a liquor store.
Yeah.
They went into a liquor store, found the proprietor of this liquor store plus his 3 casuals, and tied their hands from behind, burnt them inside, burnt the liquor den. I mean, this is...
It was pretty gruesome, you know. This was even before the sun came up yesterday. So looking for answers in terms of, you know, nobody's taking responsibility for it yet. But like they're saying, it's similar to things that happened 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. It's happened before. So they just come in and they are heavily armed. They say over 30 heavily armed militants coming in and conducting these heinous acts and just going away. And KDF and police, specialized police units have been conducting operations within the Boni Forest. It's expansive and it crosses over into Somalia. So you just look at that and you see, you cannot really fault the police and the security of forces.
In terms of not having adequate protection or security, no, you can't.
Yeah, but it's just that, you know, you just need something else to be done to just go and deal with this marauding gang. It's very, very sad and unfortunate. And you can imagine now the entire Lamu, even Peketoni, which was not attacked this time, you can imagine the kind of tension that people have there.
It must be on eggshells right now. Nobody wants to come out.
People want to leave.
And everybody wants to get out of there because these folks have not been found. 1, 2, there's a manhunt going on for them. You don't know where they're going to turn up later. You know, it must not be an easy situation right now. You're afraid to fall asleep. You're afraid to walk about. You just want to get out. You know?
It's really, really, really sad. And our condolences to the people of those villages, Witho village and the other villages, Majembeni, Mkunumbi, Nyadha, Kaisari, Mavuno, Promoko, and the other surrounding villages of Lamu. This is one that we say all the best to our security forces as they do that. Something else that's in the papers, just before we take the break, another sad story. And this is, remember the 2nd of December incident of a mine collapsing in Siaya County?
Yeah.
And then some people were rescued and there's still somebody who hasn't been found. 35-year-old Tom Okwach. He's been trapped in that mine for a long time. So the nation is highlighting that story and talking about the hope and despair as kin of trapped child and miner are crying for help. So the miner is 8-month-old Fadhili Rahma, who's remained in a 45-foot borehole in Nyeri, Mombasa for 10 days. And then
what?
8-month-old.
A baby?
Yep.
Okay.
So let's go into Rahma. Rahma's mother, Lilian Danu, recalls a bright Christmas day when she and her 3 children went to visit a relative. The 4 children went out to play after lunch. I did not know that there was a hole outside. A neighbor, Khadija Alamin, says she saw a child going toward the borehole and heard cries soon after. I called the neighbors, who confirmed that a toddler was missing. The child cried for help for minutes before going silent. We tried our best to pull the child out of the borehole but failed. There was a sense of hopelessness, according to Bernard Opondo, whose family Ms. Ndanu had gone to see. Ndanu, who lives in Ntwapa, urges the county and national government to come to her rescue. I'm very sad. I pray that I get the body in order to give him a proper burial. Kenya Navy divers arrived at the scene but left minutes later without saying anything to Ms. Ndanu and other area residents. Mombasa County government officials blame the difficulty in getting to the child's body in rains and soft soil. Devolved Government Disaster Management Link person Josephat Manasseh said his team would retrieve the body from the well. We can only dig 5 to 8 feet a day, but we'll reach the body soon. Locals are accusing area leaders of turning a blind eye to the tragedy. Building contractors do not follow the laid-down laws and guidelines. Why should a borehole in a busy estate be left unguarded? This has become the norm in Mombasa. What are law enforcers doing? Imagine.
The likelihood is that the child is no longer living.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the family just want at least the body just to go. And now the administration. We talked about this. We talked about disaster management in this country. There's preparedness, and then there's now management in times of a disaster. It's the same thing about Okwach. The person who has a bulldozer comes in with a bulldozer and an excavator and says, I've got to be paid. County government says, we will look for money. Local Ngao officers are all over the place. So there's basically nobody who's taking charge and saying, all right, so this is what needs to be done. we need to do this. We need to find the body of Okoch. We need to find the body of the 8-month-old baby, Rahma Fadhili. What?
It doesn't tell well at all. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't tell well at all that anything can happen to anybody. And you're almost, isn't it sad that you're almost sure that the facilities which should be available locally and nationally will not be able to come to your rescue.
You're on your own.
Yes, yes.
In times of crisis, when you actually need the government the most, is when very many people feel like they're on their own.
Yeah.
It's sad. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. Let's take a break. It's 6:30. We want to take a look at the traffic. Are people back to town, or are they
They're
still?
not really back home.
It's still another week of
extended
holidays,
holiday.
Because yesterday was no traffic day.
Yep. Nowhere.
Pretty much throughout the day. Okay, let's see how the roads are looking like. If there's anything that we ought to talk about, let us know so we can tell everybody else. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
ABSA was very responsive when COVID came about. And one of the things that we worked together on was for them to give us a facility to enable us buy materials in huger volumes than we were buying.
ABSA introduced a product to us known as the Trade Management Online. It's fast and it's safe. ABSA has helped us bring our possibilities to life, hence making us the home of quality.
What makes a man?
I had an advertising job that was toxic. It was difficult. I'm not saying the people were toxic. I don't think anyone is inherently toxic.
Don't ever let someone's perception of you become your reality.
How do we navigate through career, family, and life?
I was an average kid. I wasn't a poor student.
Examining what defines a man.
We derive our identity as men based on external factors, on things that people can be able to see.
A space for men to open their experiences and more. Starting Thursday, 18th November on the Standard Digital YouTube and Facebook page. Hosted by Eric Latiff.
All right, so we're looking at quite a lot of traffic in the CBD this morning, and it's also picking up a little bit here and there on Jogger Road. Lunga Lunga is looking really good, and the Southern Bypass, that whole area, Uhuru Highway, coming off Southern Bypass, that is all right going into the city. Langata Road, just a little bit at the roundabouts as you head then either towards Nairobi West or going towards Raila Odinga Way. So at your roundabouts, you have a spot of traffic here and there. Uhuru Highway is free from Nyayo Stadium all the way to the Haile Selassie roundabout, out towards Westlands. That's not much of an issue at all. Thika Superhighway, nothing going on. Folks are not stuck here. A little bit here and there on Juja Road. And that Pangani spot there also coming off of Muranga Road and that particular area. You'll see some traffic. But in terms of anything going crazy, no, not really. A little bit here and there on Limuru Road as well. And it looks like it's just picking up. We're likely to have a little bit more action than we did yesterday. So let's just prepare for that. Let us know what's happening in your area. Text on 40127. Tweet SpiceFM KE.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Parents faced with fees, fines, burden as schools reopen. Traders dealing in school items also registered slow business at the start of the first term of another four-term year. Yeah? Okay, well, maybe.
Another 4-term year. Okay.
School started opening yesterday for the third term of the 2021 academic year after a 10-day break. Many other schools will open today and tomorrow as parents complain about financial pressure to raise school fees. And we also understand that there was an arrears issue and purchase other necessities for their children. Those with children in schools have suffered arson attacks last year during the wave of violence in schools that swept across the country have the extra burden of paying hefty fines to fix school infrastructure that was destroyed. Some parents have also complained of being asked to pay levies outside the school fees recommended by the Ministry of Education under the guise of funding projects and motivation for teachers as they prepare candidates for the national examinations in March and April. The opening of the last term of at the beginning of the year is unusual, and activities around it accentuate the oddity. Business recorded unusually low January back-to-school sales since there are fewer demands for third term than first term when parents usually buy new books, uniforms, and other requirements for the start of the year. The chair of the National Parents Association, Mr. Nicholas Mayo, said they had noted a reduction in the number of complaints about illegal levies. He explained that they sent out messages at the beginning of each term asking parents to forward any complaints to the association. The problem is still widespread, but not as much as it used to be, probably after the TSC showed cause letters to some principals who were flouting the rules. The levies are only legal if they have been approved by and agreed by parents and approved by the Ministry of Education. I don't think that those who give out these what we're seeing as illegal levies are going to end sometime soon, because it makes up something for them, and they see, look, our school is different. Whether you have followed the edict by the Ministry of Education, we need 1, 2, 3, and we're going to come back to parents and ask them to pay up this money because they need it.
Yeah.
It's not for leisure or luxury. However, the burden is on parents, and they don't see why they should be paying more to contribute towards, 1, 2, 3, when they're already paying a stipulated fee. So it's continually a bone of contention. It's interesting now because even when they put it out in the open and said you can whistleblow on this, you are charged extra. Let us know who it is. So you've seen a reduction of such around the country, but it's still a major issue.
It's still there.
Yes.
How about those that now had are having to go back with the fines for the destroyed property in schools?
So you pay the fine up front. There's nothing like, can I split it? And if you don't pay, you're not allowed in school. That's what they're doing.
It's like that. That's the punishment.
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Okay.
And it has to be that you then, so basically they're saying, Pange, as you're coming to school, be ready. If you had any arrears, to be ready to clear them, pay the fine that we're asking you, and pay the current term upfront complete. You see? Especially for those who were involved in whatever kind of destruction we saw happen last year. So it's not a pretty time for a lot of folks because they're having to spend a lot more than they normally would in the third term of a school year that starts at the beginning of a calendar year. So can you even see the conundrum that people are in? It's a bit messy this time.
Aye.
Yep. Yeah.
Aye. All the best, man. Because it's a tough time. It's a tough time, especially. How long is this term again?
9 weeks.
They close in March.
They close end of March.
End of March, and then
open in May. This now will be the longest break between this third term and the first term.
And when are the national exams? KCP, KCSE.
March.
So close, and then that's the time when we're having the exams.
Yes.
Where? Hey, that's a big one.
It's going to be busy.
That's a big one. But don't despair, because Raila Odinga says if he becomes president, he's going to uplift 20 million Kenyans from abject poverty, the yoke of poverty. ODM presidential candidate Raila Odinga has pledged to change the country's economic outlook and move more than 20 million Kenyans out of poverty. He says his social welfare program will empower youth and his government will respect and give women equal rights. Kenya has undergone 2 liberation struggles, and I pledge to spearhead the third. The first brought us independence. The second brought us the 2010 Constitution. Now to spearhead the third revolution that will change the economy. He was reiterating his last December 10-point declaration at Kasarani and took a swipe at DP William Ruto, asking supporters whether they want his economic blueprint that seeks to create jobs or wheelbarrows. He was speaking yesterday during the burial of Julia Daraja, the mother of Nabii Nabwera, at Magara village in Kakamega. This story is covered both in the Standard and in the Nation, and that's why I've decided, okay, let me just highlight it, okay? So he's talking about that. Read the Nation one.
So,
the Nation one is on page what? Is on page 8.
So, our plans for the poor will work. Region told not to vote for Ruto because doing so will lead you to the opposition. ODM chief Raila Odinga has defended the economic revival and social protection fund he is propagating, saying that they will uplift 20 million Kenyans from poverty. Odinga said he would draw from his experience in government as prime minister to deliver the plan and improve the incomes of poor households should he be elected as the country's 5th president on August the 9th. He said he knows how the government generates money and that his priority would be to help poor families economically. The kitty will see every poor household get 6,000 shillings a month. Yeah, exactly. So just like you're saying, you know.
Same story.
Same story.
Okay.
The thing is, if you look through the threads of this, the how, as we spoke yesterday, it's great. Here you are saying that you know how
20 million Kenyans out of poverty.
It's not 2,000. It's not. It's not 2,000. What is
so how does giving people cash handouts lift them out of poverty?
It doesn't. If anything, it exacerbates the situation.
Because well, you could say that it helps you during a certain period, but is that gonna lift you out of poverty?
Think about it, Eric. Today, in the month of January, a family doesn't have money, right?
To take their
There's
child
no
back to
running
school.
Business. Yeah. There's no job, right? Maybe one parent is working and that job is earning them a minimal nominal amount, right? So food is an issue. So maybe you're eating one meal a day and you're surviving through the day, right? Somebody comes and gives you 6,000 shillings. You tell me, what is the first thing you're likely to do?
Buy food.
You will buy food, right?
Yeah.
And the food will do what? It will finish.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? That this food is, or rather this money that is being given is going to meet immediate needs. But to lift people out of poverty, what you need is a sustainable program and process that will see this same fund that you're giving them rolling over into something that is going to produce some kind of profit. Is this 6,000 shillings going to do it? Because what we are saying that people's needs right now are your dailies, your food, your transport, your etc. Give 6,000 shillings today.
Where are you getting the alaf sita from? Look, presently there's alaf mbili. People are not receiving the 2,000 shillings.
As it is.
Those who are on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, and not all vulnerable people on the list. Okay, so we're talking about people who are living with serious disabilities, people who are elderly above 70, and people who are considered completely poor.
Yeah.
They're on a list somewhere. They should be receiving 2,000 shillings.
And that's not happening.
It is not happening. Now we're talking about 6,000 shillings.
Where is it?
And as we say all those things, our national debt is going to hit 9 trillion next year.
Yeah, and I'm hearing Raila Odinga say he knows the inner workings of government and he knows
He's
how
done it
government
before as
generates-
prime minister.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
he knows how
now when you make
government
that
generates
reference,
money.
people go back into, so what do we remember as cash handout program during Raila as prime minister? Kazi kwa vijana. Scandal.
Ridden. I just have an issue with this. Because for somebody who doesn't have today, you're not going to get 6,000 shillings and look at your children and not buy food. You're not going to say, let me sink this into a business that maybe will give me some turnover tomorrow. You're going to feed your family.
No, let's be honest. The government cannot afford to give 6,000
Where is it coming
shillings
from?
to millions of Kenyans.
Where, 20
6,000?
million. Where is it coming from?
It's going to be difficult.
Again, it sounds nice and it's shiny.
It's
and
going to
fancy,
be
but
tough.
Where is it coming from?
It's going to be tough. There's a story in the Standard today, Financial Standard. Special report, page 4. A staggering nation. More money, more beer for the middle class. Data shows Nairobi's middle class, which comprises of individuals who earn a monthly income of between 46,000 and 185,000, unlike before, have been putting a lot of their money into beer than many other basic consumer products.
Beer?
Yes. So the story is looking at, okay, how much was in a shopping basket of somebody with a maximum income of 120,000 shillings. Consumer item, 11,500 every monthly spend on a house. Cell phone, airtime, 6,000. Matatu, 5,000. A house, if it's a maisonette, 4,800. Petrol, 4,700. A bungalow, 3,300. Primary tuition, 2,900. Beef with bones, 2,800. Restaurants and hotels, 2,800. Cafe and takeaways, 2,800. Basically just looking at that basic kind of income. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And also comparing middle class shopping basket, that was in 2005, 2006. Then looking at the shopping basket in 2015, 2016. Everything has gone up. At that point, we're talking about a maximum income this time of 185,000. So when you're talking about things like motor vehicle insurance, 3,900, beer starts featuring here, 6,600. Two-bedroom house, 7,300. Mobile phone airtime, 8,000. Hotels and restaurants, 4,500. So beer is basically becoming one of those commodity items that is topping in the old consumer index, consumer price index or shopping basket for the middle class. Alcohol, beverages, tobacco and narcotics had a weight of 1.4. This weight has since risen more than 3 times to 4.739 in the latest CPI that's based on the 2015-2016 Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey. More than 10 years ago, a big chunk of the middle class income went into housing, which took up 23.6% of their income. Paying rent for a flat was the single costliest item in the middle class's shopping basket, followed by airtime, matatu fare, rent for house, maisonettes and petrol. Back then, middle class households, which by then were having an income of a maximum of 120,000 shillings and a minimum of 23,000 shillings, would spend more on milk, pishori, electricity, gas, kerosene, stove, bus fare to the countryside than on beer. However, as the middle class famously earnings improved, food and other necessities took up so little of their income, even as luxury spending dominated their shopping basket.
Do you think it's indicative of something? So it could be several things here.
Basically, they're spending much more on luxury items.
Luxury items.
So earning a lot more. You have a lot more cash.
Yeah.
But now it's not going into savings, into investments, it's going into
spend it today.
Showing lavish lifestyle.
Interesting.
Into lavish lifestyle. That's it.
Lavish lifestyle with a
yes. Eating life with a big spoon. If the money you have cannot solve the problem that you have, eat that money.
And that's exactly what's happening.
Oh, yes. Eat that money. What else?
Well, so there's a story here that was it's a little story on page 14 of The Nation. The High Court has upheld a 15-year jail sentence handed to a man who sexually molested his 7-year-old niece. This happened some time ago when the sentence was given, and he then appealed it. Justice Asana Thongeri said the trial court was right in convicting the man on the 8th of July 2018. I also find that the sentence of 18 years imprisonment is lawful, and I find no need to interfere with it. I find that his appeal lacks in merit, and I accordingly dismiss the same and uphold both the conviction and the sentence. He defiled the girl on November 14th, 2017 in Buret in Kericho County. The minor told the court that the man told her he wanted to send her to the shop, but instead directed her to her grandmother's kitchen, which was also his bedroom. The grandmother found the girl in the man's bed and took her to hospital. She also reported the matter to the area chiefs, who arrested the man and took him to a police station. A clinical officer at the sub-county hospital told the court that there was attempted defilement he felt, I remember that he had said he was going to appeal. We looked at this story just before Christmas, and he said he was going to appeal this, but the Court of Appeal said absolutely not. In this case, this child was defiled, and there's a minimum sentence. But apart from that, you should actually be remorseful, and we're not seeing any kind of remorse. So you will go and serve this time. Time served, of course, has also been taken into consideration, but appeal was shut down quicker than you can say Jack Robinson.
Let's take another quick break. It's about 10 minutes to 7. Time for a quick break, and then we come back and look at more headlines. This is Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
Okay, so what are they?
Mornings.
So it's a tightrope for deputy governors seeking to take over from their bosses.
Yeah.
Why is it a tightrope? Deputy governors from Western and Nyanza counties are walking a tightrope in their quest to succeed their bosses in this year's general election. Some of the deputy governors have also declared interest in other elective seats rather than the governorship. The deputy county chiefs are banking their hopes on the experience they have had during their stints in the devolved units to win support. Now, even before I go on, remember, deputy governors had often complained that they had been overlooked. They're not really involved in the processes of government. They seemed to be a good running mate, and then after the election, when governor sat in office, they kind of were forgotten, right? So they formed their own caucus to discuss their issues. So they've just been kind of like in the periphery, not where the action is. So it's difficult then for them to come out and say, look, here, I want to run for the next seat, because we haven't really seen you in your capacity as a DG. Because the way the system has been created, you're kind of like without portfolio.
Yeah, just chill in the background.
Exactly. So, for some, however, the baggage and failures of their outgoing bosses are hanging over their heads. So you can imagine, you're not being given anything to do, and then if your boss fails, it has a negative, connotation about you and your ability. And here you are then wanting to take over the boss's position tomorrow. In Kisii, for example, the vocal deputy governor, Josh Maangi, wants to succeed James Ongwae, and who is serving his last term. Like the biblical prodigal son, Maangi, who was leaning towards Deputy President William Ruto, made a U-turn recently and now supports Raila Odinga. Perhaps a strategy to crack the tough jigsaw puzzle in the 2022 succession game. His dalliance with DP Ruto appears to have given his competitors in the ODM camp a reason to question Mangi's loyalty to the party. And with the party's tough stand on members perceived to be disloyal, Mangi is at pains to convince party delegates that he deserves the Orange Democratic Party ticket and that he is not a turncoat.
Yeah, I mean, you were just the other day, you were on the other side. Yet you have been elected on an ODM ticket twice as a deputy governor. Surely.
If you go this way, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
He's not the only one. So we're looking at Dagoretti North MP Simbarati, Senator Sam Ongeri, and Women Rep Janet Ongera, who've been unwavering in their support for ODM and their party boss, also want to get higher seats. In Siaya, Deputy Governor James Okumbe has shown interest in succeeding Governor Cornel Rasanga, who is serving his last term. Okumbe opponents have questioned the county in provision of services to locals, noting it was below par. So you see, they attribute the gains to the governor. They attribute the losses to the governor and the deputy governor.
Okay.
So it's a hard.
Well, it's fair. I mean, look,
because
if we elected you as governor and deputy governor.
Yeah.
All right. And when you came seeking re-election, you came as a pair again and said, based on what we've done, we'd like to continue. And we gave you the mandate. So if we feel unhappy with the administration, we feel unhappy with your leadership as well. You cannot now come and tell us, but I was only a deputy. Nah. I mean, it really can't work.
But even, I think they've been, I don't even think it's because I was a deputy, so that I'm not going to step into the limelight. I think these fellas and ladies were deliberately ignored, as in it's just like, okay, you were a means to an end, I've gotten into the office, and then, because what do they do?
Come on, resign.
We had the DG for Nyeri County here.
Yes.
What did she say? What did she tell us? She's like, we don't do anything.
Yeah, and she's still in office.
We don't do anything.
She's still in office, is she not?
Yeah, we're earning a salary for having done nothing.
Yeah, so leave.
Why? The money is good, man.
Okay, you see? Now, if you want to talk to me about principle and say, you know what, so I'm in this office, I don't have portfolio. For example, in the case of Nyeri, right? In the case of Nyeri, it's been in the papers. Governor and deputy governor are not on the same page on anything. In fact, one says the sun rises from the east, the other one says it rises from the south.
Yes.
They don't agree on anything. Why are you still in office? None of them, please don't get me wrong, none of them was elected. Well, the deputy governor was elected with the ticket of the former governor. The deputy was not. Surely, if you feel completely that you're not working, it's not working for you, leave. Go out there and say, you know what, people, on principle, I'm doing nothing to serve my people.
Sure, but the politics game is aspirational, Eric, in that you started as an MCA. You want to be an MP tomorrow. You want to be senator. You want to be governor.
Yes.
You want to aspire onto something else.
Yes.
So if you ask me, the way they see it is resigning would be like shooting yourself in the foot. You resign, you're not going to be able to.
So don't use that line at all. That's the point I'm making. Don't come to me and say, but you see, I was sidelined, but you see, I was... For 5 years, you sat there and you were sidelined, and now you're coming to tell me that, don't point a finger at me because of the failures of this administration. I was not part of it. You were part of it. You rode in a vehicle for deputy governor. You occupied the office of deputy governor. You earned the salary of deputy governor. You got the privileges of a deputy governor in everything else. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you come and tell me that because I feel this administration has not served me, I should not put you in the same boat as your governor, please get out of here. In the case of, for example, Barchok in Bomet, okay? So, Governor Laboso dies, Barchok takes over. Now Barchok is seeking re-election. Barchok has a deputy. Okay. So people will judge you based on what we see you doing. In the case of Kahiga in Nyeri, he was a deputy governor. He rose to governor. Now we will judge him as governor.
As governor.
You picked a deputy, Mr. Kahiga. Now, your deputy has not been working. We'll also ask you questions. If you don't see eye to eye, why don't you come to the county assembly, same way you came and sought her confirmation? Come to the county assembly and say, you know what, people? I am not seeing eye to eye with my deputy. I'd like you, the county assembly, to help me impeach this one.
Because you don't see, you're not comfortable dropping one for the other, obviously.
Yes.
It helps you, but at the same time, you want to be seen to be contributing towards this whole thing.
You're
damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
It's deceit. I don't see. Well, there's nothing wrong for me for a deputy to seek to rise to the position.
No, there isn't.
Okay? Obama was president for 8 years. Biden is now president. Fine.
It can be done.
But you cannot come and say, but you see, I was not the president, it was Obama.
Yeah.
You see, Obamacare didn't work, it was Obama.
You inherited your problems.
No. You one and the same, man. Bush and Reagan, one and the same. Watu wengine waache kutuchezea akili bwana. Hii nchi iko na upungufu wa wajinga bwana. But the deputy governors who are seeking to rise to the position of governor, they should be judged on merit.
I think so.
What did you do when you occupied that seat? Right? What did you do when you were there? What are you seeking? Did we actually feel your presence?
Yeah.
What are we judging you by? You want to be governor, you've been deputy. What are we judging you by?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the deputy president.
But I think that's what they're
He
saying.
can't go around the country and tell us, but this administration, it was invaded by handshake. But you were there.
But that's the thing that they're saying. Well, you didn't give us anything to do, so therefore, how can you then now say that?
On the one hand, you go around in a government vehicle and you come somewhere and you say, as deputy governor, this is work that we are doing, you're opening some projects. And then on the other one, you're saying, but you see, I didn't have any work.
I didn't have any work to do, so please make me the governor.
When you question, you say, I'm just going around the country, I'm not campaigning, I'm inspecting government projects. You see, I'm the deputy president. And then the next time you're like, oh, but this is a handshake government, I am not the deputy president. These are lies. I mean, we cannot just be sitting back and saying, okay, yeah, but you see,
we understand.
That is looking for excuses where there are none. Keep it right here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. This is the Situation Room, broadcasting on SpiceFM around the country: Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, Nyeri and Malindi. And we are also live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE on YouTube and Facebook. If you're online, say hello. Good morning, 8-7 a.m.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Days Set. As students across the country continue to report back to school for the third term of the 2021 education calendar, parents continue to lament over tough economic times. Those who spoke to say that the situation has made it hard to pay school fees, further urging school heads to be lenient with them and allow their children to stay in school as they look for school fees. Last week, Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha warned principals against sending students home. This comes as President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that there will be 4 academic terms this year. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muthui has called for special parliament sittings from Wednesday to Friday this week, where the third reading of political parties' bills shall be concluded. This follows the derail seen in last week's session, where only 6 of the 27 clauses were dispensed, prompting Majority Leader Amos Kimunya to call for the sitting. Now, leaders from Lamu County are now asking the government to quickly probe the killings that left 6 people dead. They say that the incident has left the residents fearing for their lives. This as the government, through the Lamu County Commissioner Irungu Macharia, says investigations are underway. 6 people were killed following an attack by suspected Al-Shabaab militants at Widhu Majembeni area in Lamu County. According to police, the suspected militants also torched several houses. One of the victims was shot dead, another was hacked to death, while the other 4 were burnt to death in their house. A man accused of killing his wife at Kithima Village, Kirinyaga County, has been found to be mentally unfit to stand trial. The psychiatrist's report presented before the Gishugu Law Court indicated that James Washira is suffering from a mental disorder. The court ordered that he be held at Kirinyaga Police Station until the 18th of this month, when his fate will be known. The accused is alleged to have killed his wife and razed down their house using petrol in what was suspected to be a family dispute. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has rubbished efforts by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga's allies to amend the coalition bill. Speaking in Trans Nzoia County, Ruto described the move as extremist, saying leaders who are pushing for the reforms did not have the interest of Kenyans at heart. Ruto also refuted allegations that his opponents are planning to rig the elections, ignoring claims of the existence of a deep state. Meanwhile, ODM leader Raila Odinga hit out at Deputy President William Ruto's Kazi ni Kazi slogan. Raila noted that the youth get an education to get better jobs rather than push wheelbarrows. Raila further says that his 6,000 stipend will be available to vulnerable families in the country, for the shutting down critics who've questioned the source of funds to run the programs if he is elected. And Kenya has recorded 1,223 COVID-19 cases from a sample size of 4,003 tested in the last 24 hours, bringing the positivity rate to 30.6%. In a statement, the Ministry of Health said the total confirmed positive cases is now 299,732, while the cumulative tests conducted so far at 3,046,316. From the cases, 1,132 are Kenyans, while 91 are foreigners. And plans to start airlifting fresh produce from Kisumu International Airport have been finalized with the inaugural flight scheduled for January 8th this year. This follows the expansion of the airport to encompass a cargo handling and cold storage facility through a public-private partnership. The Kisumu Lakefront Development Corporation chairperson FCPA Edward Okoh said farmers and fishermen in Kisumu and the Lake region were set to benefit immensely through the new development. Okoh said the facility will unite cargo airlines, freight forwarders, farmers, fish traders and airports to identify opportunities, generate new business and add additional frequencies into the market. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, at a few minutes after 7 o'clock, let's see what's in store on the roads today. It looks like it's building up on the Thika Superhighway today for the first time in a couple of days, but actually nothing too crazy. We're looking at traffic right around the Pangani underpass, a little bit at the drive-in, feeding off of Outer Ring. We're looking at Lamu Road, also has built up quite some from the village market out towards the Aga Khan Hospital, out then towards the city. Muranga Road, a little bit here and there as you get towards Ngara. The CBD also quite packed this morning. Coming out of Westlands, we're looking at Waiyaki Way, well into the city. Langata Road, not too bad at all until you get to the roundabout. Let's look on the other side of things. And Dimara Daima, that stretch, a bit slow today as you're getting out towards Mombasa Road. Apart from that, it doesn't look too crazy. It looks like we're looking at another day of not too crazy traffic in the city. It would be great to continue, but we know that in a couple of days, everybody will be back and in full throttle for business. But for now, take advantage. However, be careful. Let us know what's happening where you are. Hope no incidents or accidents. Talk to us, however, on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Let's text on 40127.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start
it's 7
your
minutes
day.
after 7. A very good morning to you, and thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Yagon, hope you had a lovely birthday yesterday. So he says good morning to Ndu, Eric, and all the listeners enjoying the show from Nandi. Asante sana Yagon, karibu sana to today's proverb. So today's proverb is a Somali proverb. And it says, one doesn't tell a man, go away, but one shows him something, so he'll go. One doesn't tell a man, go away. Now you show them something.
That will make him go.
Distract them with something.
Could be the other way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Could show him something that will make him stay.
Thinking that, this one is going to make them go there like, nah. Nah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the day's proverb. It's a Somali proverb. So, that story that we're looking at as we're going to the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Again, it's about what? Deputy governors?
Okay. So, deputy governors, rather, those in that position have a hard, task to fill as we are going into this election. I'll just give you the details of that again.
Yes.
So, essentially, what we are saying is that there is a hard case to be made And some are complaining that, they never really had anything to do and don't feel as though they should be judged based on the performance, because there was always the complaint that, we didn't really have much to do when it came to county business. We were kind of used to get the tickets. We were kind of used to get the position. But then thereafter, we were more or less done. And we stood in for the governor when he or she was not around, but that was just about the size of it. We didn't go beyond that, right? So they're saying it's going to be difficult because here you are having to prove yourself unless you have the endorsement of the county boss. So it's going to be difficult going in, and they're looking at specifically those in the Nyanza and Western regions who are not necessarily getting the support of their now outgoing governors, but are saying it's a hard task to fill because we were kind of ignored along the way. And so now here we are. We would want to aspire to be in this position. But, it's going to be difficult without that because we didn't really have much to do.
But what's the story, though?
Okay.
Is the story that the deputy governors who are seeking to rise to the position of governor, are they saying that please do not look at my track record as a deputy governor because I have none, because I was not given an opportunity? Or is it only a few who are then now trying to break out of the shell of that pair and saying, don't look at us as a pair? Some of them even going against their current governors who are seeking re-election and saying, okay, yeah, we've served together, but forget this guy.
That's exactly it. That, okay, in as much as you can't really look at me and say so I'm just going to get you the details of that story. I've just lost that page and it just ran away from me, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you the details of that story. 2025, and my pages have been
23 in the Standards.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But I've lost my Standard page. Read it for me,
23,
Eric.
okay. Deputy governors from Western and Nyanza counties are walking a tightrope in their quest to succeed their bosses in this year's general election. Some of the deputy governors have also declared interest in in other elective seats other than the governorship. The deputy county chiefs are banking their hopes on the experience that they have had during their stint in the devolved units to win support. For some, however, the baggage and failures of their outgoing bosses are hanging over their heads. We have talked about Kisii, where we have James Ongwae and Josh Maangi. We have other counties as well. You talked about Siaya, Deputy Governor James Okumbe showing interest to succeed Colonel Rasanga.
Homa Bay.
Okumbe opponents are questioning the county in provision of services to locals, noting it was below par. So the residents are unhappy with the 2 terms of Colonel Rasanga, and they're saying, Okumbe,
you were together.
You were there with him.
Yes.
So we're not happy with him, so we want somebody else altogether.
In Homa Bay, Deputy Governor Hamilton Orata, he's among the host of aspirants seeking to replace Governor Cyprian Awiti, who is also serving his final term. Orata has a daunting task detaching himself from alleged underperformance of the devolved unit. And so here they're saying, you didn't perform well. You guys came in on the same ticket. Now here you are coming to tell us that you're going to perform if we give you the position. But as far as we're concerned, you did a poor job. And here they are saying, well, you know what? I just shadowed the governor. But now if you give me a position to be now the one who is steering the seat or steering the vehicle, I can do a much better job. But now people are linking the performance to the position and saying, you guys came in together. Governor, deputy.
Yes.
You cannot divorce yourself from the governor when we have seen underperformance or when we've seen our needs have not been met. You cannot now come and say that you are not really part of it because deputy governors are often ignored. You can't use that as an excuse now. And they're saying for them it's difficult because they're not really involved in the workings. They just do as they're told. Now suddenly the person wants to be governor and you're saying to them, but you people have performed badly.
Who's being dishonest here? Is it the electorate that has given a governor 2 terms and then coming at the end of the 2 terms and saying, but you guys have not performed? You re-elected them.
You re-elected the governor.
Okay. So there's one side. We're talking about governors who've served 2 terms. And at the end of the 2 terms, people are saying, oh, but you see, we have not even felt the benefits of devolution in our county for the last 9 years. This governor has not even performed well. So we look at you as, okay, so there is a section of the electorate that would say they were not supporters of this governor anyway in the
Anyway.
first place. They didn't vote for them the first time or the second time. Or maybe they voted the first time, they didn't vote for them the second time, but the person won anyway.
Right.
So they will have a group of people like that. And then there'll be other people who are good supporters of the outgoing governor. And they maybe don't have a problem with the deputy. The thing is, how does a deputy disentangle themselves from the outgoing governor or their governor or the administration?
Unfortunately, you cannot. Because, look, let's be honest. The only reason why you as an individual are the deputy governor is because this person was elected governor.
Well, no, it's because you were also elected.
Yeah, but you ran, no. But this person selected. If they didn't select you, you ran as a pair.
Probably the
Would
person
you have
selected
elected
me
this
because I was going to
deputy
give them
governor?
the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, the electorate chose you as a pair.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You would not have one without the other.
Yep.
So now here you are. Come rain, come sunshine. You are the Siamese twin of this person.
Yep.
Right? Now, when they're judging you, they judge you together.
Yes.
When there's performance or underperformance, nobody wants to know whether you had anything to do with decisions. Nobody wants to know whether who signed on the dotted line. It's both of you together because you came as a pair and said, elect us, we will do 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Now, somewhere down the line, if something happens whereby you as deputy governor are not recognized, or you're asked to just stand in when the governor is not there, sign this, you can't even sign. Do this when the governor is not there, represent me at such and such a function. And then at the end of the day, they're looking at performance as the administration, and then you are bungled into that whole thing and say, all of you misperformed.
Yes.
Can you run away? You can't.
You can't run away.
You cannot run away from it.
Because that was the job.
You cannot run away from it because
See,
you
there's
came
a
and
JD.
said you didn't
the JD
campaign
for deputy governor is exactly what you've just described.
Shadow
Sit
the
there,
governor.
wait.
Until I tell you to move.
Yeah.
And when I tell you to move, I tell you left or right. That is what you're supposed to do. So you cannot actually then come and say, this administration performed badly, but I really had nothing to do with it. I was just doing what I was told to do. You can't.
So let's flip the coin then and look at the outgoing governors. Okay? So those outgoing governors who have deputies who are seeking to succeed them, are they endorsing their deputies to succeed them? How many are not? Because the question would be, if an outgoing governor is not endorsing a deputy to succeed them, what does that say? Either about the governor or about the deputy?
It says
Or about the two of them?
It says many things. But one of the ones that shouts the loudest is that then this outgoing governor actually really then maybe doesn't have faith that this individual can perform at the chief level. I used you to get to where I was going for whatever. Maybe you had credentials in some kind of technical area. You're a technocrat and I needed you. I be the politician. I be the burly politician. You be the technocrat that was going to bring some kind of order in terms of our campaign. Thereafter, I'm not really interested. Do I feel that you have the politics to be able to carry the position? Probably not. And that's why you will see you will not get many endorsements from governors to their deputies who want to take on those positions. It's already happening. Kisi is happening. Homa Bay is happening. Siaya is already happening. These folks are not endorsing these guys. They're not. If anything, they're getting some opposition. Look at what's happening in Mombasa, for example. Is Joho supporting his deputy to be in a position to run?
Joho, according to what was in the news the other day, he seems to be throwing his weight behind somebody else altogether.
Altogether. And like I said,
He's been silent whether he's endorsing the Mvita MP Abdul Somad or whether he's going for Suleiman Shabal. He's not talking about supporting his deputy to take over.
And the deputy governor position is an aspirational one, because now the assumption is that when that is done, you want to go to a higher. Maybe there are very few who wouldn't want to be governor and they want to do something else, right? But for most, you want to get to that top seat. Now, if your boss, who you've worked with for the last 5 years or for the last 10 years, is not uplifting you and saying, hey, actually, you know what? I've worked with this man, I've worked with this woman for the last 10 years. I think they'd actually do a very good job. It's telling big time on you. Or it's telling big time on what the initial intention was with you. That they don't really think that you would be able to do it, but they needed you in terms of 1 or 2 areas of expertise, and that was it. To get the position.
I'm not even really sure what the argument here then is, or even the debate here is. Our producer John is saying, okay, if you see an outgoing governor not endorsing their deputy, then that deputy does not even deserve an audience.
Well, not necessarily, because there could be very many reasons as to why they're not supporting this individual. There could be personal spite. There could be other issues. Look at some of the things we've been seeing in what's been happening in Nyeri. It could be that there are personal issues there. It could be that this person maybe will come and outdo you in terms of your legacy and in terms of things that you did. There could be many reasons. But I do agree that the endorsement is a big deal. If it comes from the outgoing and says, look at other leaders in the world. If it comes and it says your outgoing leader is giving you the thumbs up to go ahead and do it, it's heavy in terms of weight. It's heavy in terms of weight.
Yeah.
It's telling. It's telling.
It's telling very many things. It could be telling that, the governor, the outgoing governor, is a dishonest person.
Because at some point you needed this individual.
Yes.
Right?
It's a use and discard kind of thing.
Which is why I was saying, what was the initial intention? What was the initial intention when you got this person to ride with you to get into this position?
Or it could also mean that you have gotten there and then now you realize, you see, this person is actually really, really good and I do not want them to do the job that I wanted us to do together. Yagon is telling us even in Wasingishu, Mandago is not endorsing his deputy, who the deputy wants to vie for Senate. But the outgoing governor is
not touching it because I'm done with my part. I'm all right. I really don't need you anymore. I'm
is
done.
It important days?
Yeah, in the waste paper basket, it's done. So I think you need to. I think maybe here the question is that as we're looking at, especially this position of government. Remember, we're looking at a long stint of DGs complaining that they have been irrelevant in terms of the running of government, of county governments.
Yes.
That once they were elected as a pair, they were kind of left by the wayside. This has been a running thing. They even have a council. Right?
They have a caucus for deputy
where
governors.
They talk about how they can be involved in other activities, what.
Yeah.
Because in terms of government business, county business.
They want the law amended, so because it's the law that gives them the job that they currently have.
They want to be given another portfolio for something else to do because they don't really do much. Right? There's been that long complaint.
Yes.
Within that came this same thing that we talked about. Their chair is the DG of Nyeri. What did they say? That oftentimes, when now you want to talk about how the county has performed or misperformed, all of you are lumped into that one basket.
But of course.
And now they're saying it should not be the case because it's almost as though you're used to during the election period, and then after that, you're dumped by the side. But then all of you are treated to the same scorecard.
Let me ask, during that campaign period when you're being used, allegedly, are you a right-thinking human being?
I would hope so.
So you also know the job. And you know what the law says your role and function is going to be when you are elected as deputy governor. You know very well that the role and function is limited to what the law has basically put.
Your hope is that once you get there, things will change. It's like a marriage. You hope that once you get there, things will be different, even though you're seeing the signs before.
Yeah. If you did not have that kind of agreement as you were campaigning, that this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to bring to the table, and you properly agree that this is what I'm going to do when I become deputy, what are you complaining about? You've performed the job. In fact, you should be going to the people and saying, I performed the job diligently of a deputy governor. According to what the law says, I have done what the law says. I have not at any point upstaged my governor. I have not at any point acted as governor when the governor is still in office. I have not at any point gone against.
So are you saying essentially that a deputy governor who is aspiring then to be governor could actually use the same argument for their benefit to say that, you know what? Here we are saying that the county performed badly. But in terms of my job, in my capacity as deputy governor, I did what I was supposed to do. I did what I was supposed to do. I shadowed the governor. I showed up for functions. I cannot make any decisions. I cannot sign on the dotted line. I cannot release 1, 2, 3. But in terms of getting my job done, I did my job. Now, I as an individual also, once given that position, according to law, then I have something that I can do as well. So that you can use for your benefit to say, according to the law and what my job description is, I did my job. Now, I am aspiring to sit at the top seat. Give me the chance to do that. Whether this administration performed badly or not, my position in all of this was to do 1, 2, 3, and I fulfilled my duties.
The number of things that I'm saying here are, just not realistic. And number one, you go into the same electorate and not expecting to be judged by your performance, the performance of your administration. You cannot distance yourself from the administration which you're currently serving and which you want to succeed. You can't. You can't go and say, you know what, the county executive failed, but I was the deputy governor, but I was not a deputy governor. You can't. Really, you can't.
But don't you see that they're in a bit of a difficult
They
situation?
are not in a difficult situation, Ndu. They are not.
Because here we are saying that your position was to sit and nod and agree to things.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the person who is asking you to sit and nod and agree essentially is said by the people to be failing miserably.
Yes.
That puts a taint on your then would-be performance.
Yes.
How do you wiggle out of that to then come out and say, please give me the position of top boss, and everybody's going to judge you on the performance of somebody for whom you didn't make any decisions with?
You did. You did. You're part and parcel of the decisions that are made. You cannot come out there and say, I was only CEC for health and this administration failed, but you see me, I was following orders from the government. You cannot. If we feel, we'll judge you individually and we'll also judge you collectively. We'll judge you individually back from your character, from what you were doing. Did we at least see you trying to, point the governor in the right direction? Did you at any point come out and say, you know what, on this one, I think, Mr. Governor, let's have a strong and healthy debate on this particular issue. Did you engage? Can we see that you actually did that? If you did, then we can talk about, okay, so yeah, we see the decision that went this way and you followed it because you had the responsibility to follow with that. But before the decision was arrived at, you had actually stood and had a position on this.
I hear you, Eric, and I also
we can judge on that. If you are quiet, we can also judge and say, you sat there, you were sitting there doing nothing, and these decisions were being taken. You made a decision. You participated in the decisions that were made. You cannot distance yourself from an administration that you've served.
Indeed. I would take fault with somebody who just sat around and wanted to be a yes man.
Yeah.
Just can't have yes men in government and say, well, according to the law, I can only do such and I have to sit in the corner. And when they ask me to speak is when I will speak. I think you also bear responsibility in terms of what, because like you said, you're a functioning, right-thinking human being when you got into the position. I think therefore are very many things that you can influence. There are projects that you can initiate. There are things that you can do within the purview of your position. You still can. To then sit and say, well, they told me to roll over and I did just that, I think they would have a problem. I wouldn't even want to elect somebody like you if you come and tell us, like these three gentlemen who are telling us now, well, I really didn't have a choice in terms of what was happening when it came to underperformance. Well, no, you did. You could have initiated 1, 2, 3. And that's why I take issue with anybody who says, I've been pushed out of government, I couldn't do it. Yes, you could. You were in a position where there could have been some shift of influence. You could have done something. You could have spoken up. You could have initiated projects. You could have started things around the county.
You could have stood on principle and stepped aside.
Or you stood on principle and say, you know what, here I am and these things are not going.
This is not what we agreed.
Wally Kapiga, did the same thing here in Nairobi.
Yep.
Did he not? Yes, he did. He said, look, this is not what we agreed we were going to do. We had a lot of things planned for this county. It's not happening. So thank you very much. But I'm going to step aside and let somebody else maybe see if they can, swim in those waters. But for me, I will not. So in as much as the law only requires that you do 1, 2, 3 according to the Act, I think that you have some wiggle room within which you can show yourself as an individual, right? I mean, look at some of the most vibrant deputies we've had, whether they be at the county level, government, in other countries, around the world, globally. There are things that you can do. So if you just roll over and put out your hand, then I would say all the more reason why you should not be elected. You shouldn't. If you say, actually, you know, these guys misperformed, I wasn't really part of it, then okay, no. Because you were right there in the circle of power and we didn't feel your influence. So now when you have the top position, with the little that you had, what did you do? Now you want a greater responsibility. What will you do? That has to be the question for everybody.
And why you?
And why you? I was just a deputy. Oh, they pushed me out of government. Well, still, you had a position. You were in the room. I remember a series I watched and aspiring doctors and somebody saying, how can we just be here holding a leg while somebody is actually doing the action of cutting? And one of his colleagues said, we are in the room. That is enough for us.
Enough.
Yes, let's start there. You're in the room. You're in the circle. Start there.
Let's take a break. It's 7:30. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. We're going to open up the phone lines after the break, 0719-012-600, as we continue the discussions this morning. Keep it right here at 8 o'clock. We have a conversation about the political parties amendment bill that's going to be debated in Parliament again from tomorrow. Frank Mukwanja, the Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy Kenya, will be joining us. Keep it right here.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based
Cloudy
on
conditions in parts of Nairobi. The sun's going to come through though. Highs of 26 and lows of 14. It's sunny at 14 in Nakuru. Highs of 28 and lows of 13. And we're looking at partly sunny conditions at 11 in Nyeri. Highs of 24 and lows of 10. Eldoret is sunny at 11. Highs of 26 and lows of 10. We're looking at sunny conditions in Kisumu at 20. Highs of 30 and lows of 19. Kakamega is sunny at 18. Highs of 31 today. 33 will be the high in a very warm Mombasa, already at 26 early this morning. We'll see lows of just 23. 26 will be the low in Malindi, which is what it currently is. It will go to highs of 31. Kampala is sunny at 20, highs of 28. 32 will be the high in a mostly sunny Dar es Salaam, currently at 27. Will come down to lows of 26. And we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions at 17 in Johannesburg, highs of 26 and lows of 15. There's a haze over Lagos skies at 26. Started out clear, but that's clouded up. 32 will be the high and lows of 25. And it's raining in Kinshasa at 23. That'll be today's low. It'll go to highs of 28.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM.
All right, perhaps today is that day. A little bit late, but we're seeing now traffic is building up, especially going towards Uhuru Highway. Just after the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, you're going towards the Haile Selassie roundabout, and then we see some traffic on Haile Selassie Avenue, just that section after the Bunyala Road roundabout. Okay, Jogo Road, that clouded up quite early, and that's spilling over to Landis, which is hot and heavy inbound. And we're looking at the CBD, which is also quite crowded up today. It's building up on the Thika Superhighway now, just past the Pangani Underpass, Muthaiga Square, that whole area, but not much in terms of Kiambu Road traffic. Limuru Road is where the action is now, a few minutes after 7:30, coming into that whole Parklands area. That's quite packed as well. Juja Road, spots of traffic here and there. And we're looking at the eastern side of the city with traffic spilling over from Outer Ring, going towards Manyanja and other parts into Moja and out towards the Komarok and the pipeline interchange. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for now. What's happening in your neck of the woods? You want to let us know? Talk to us on SpiceFM KEO, Kangunda Road. What's going on there? Some traffic in and outbound. Hope nothing too sticky there. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It's 26 to 8. The conversation continues right here on SpiceFM and SpiceFM KE on YouTube and Facebook. So something else interesting happened on the second day of January 2022. This is on Sunday. The MP for Mumias East, his name is Benjamin Washiali, released a statement and even tweeted. Let me read what is said on Twitter. It's been an honor serving the people of Mumias East. With gratitude, I appreciate that you placed your hope and aspirations in me for the last 15 years. I have served diligently. I am grateful for the development strides that we've made. Therefore, come August, I will not be running for office. It's with such humility that I therefore once again ask you, the people of Mumias East, to come August elect a leader who will not only better the best that we have achieved this far, but also be tenacious and zealous in their service delivery. That sounds a bit odd, doesn't it?
That he's leaving?
Benjamin Washiali has been elected consecutively for 3 elections. Okay? 15 years he has served. He has risen as a whip in the House. Now he says, in the next election,
I'm done.
I have served you guys in the next election. I'm not actually going to be seeking another elective position. Not governor, not senator, not president, nothing.
I'm done.
I'm taking a break.
I will, however, though, be happy to serve in government at some point, he says.
Yeah. In other positions of government, yes. But elective position, I'm not going to come to you again and ask for your vote.
And then the people said?
There's a story here on page 16 of The Nation. Washiali's decision not to defend seat triggers anger. The decision by the Mumias East MP Benjamin Washiali not to defend his seat has triggered protests from supporters. He said he wants to take a break from politics. It's been an honor. He is ready to be in Deputy President Ruto's government, however. MP supporters are accusing him of deserting them when they need him most. The lawmaker's supporters gathered at UDA offices in Shianda to vent their frustration after being informed of his decision yesterday. What has become of Washiali to make such a decision without consulting us? Asked Kamau Murunga, UDA youth leader in Mumias East. Gabriel Musebe, another local, said UDA has 17,000 registered members in the constituency and they were ready to vote for Washiali. Where shall we move to with all these numbers? He should have sat with us to chart the political way forward before announcing the decision. They told the lawmaker to explain to them why he is quitting politics without informing his supporters first.
How's that for public participation?
You should have come and asked us.
We want you. So here it is. That one, is there nobody else in this particular area, Mumias East, right, that they have seen that is capable to be able to deliver? One. Two, it could mean that over the last 15 years, in terms of delivery of services, that Washiali has delivered for them in an unprecedented manner, above and beyond what they ever expected. And that they can't see that anybody is going to be able to fill those shoes.
They don't trust other people. That's why they've not voted for the other people.
No.
In all those 3 elections, he has had opponents.
Yes. But
the supporters of Benjamin Washiali have campaigned for him, have voted for him.
Yes.
They have mobilized for him because they liked what they saw in the man. They liked the kind of results that they got. So these are the supporters.
Now, these are the supporters who are saying?
The supporters are like, now, surely, now.
Why didn't you ask us?
We were unprepared.
This kind of thing, you will do something, we'll do for you. You feel you can't carry the whole burden of this responsibility, we'll carry some for you. But in terms of giving our vote to somebody else, no.
Is it odd that a sitting member of parliament just like that decides, I do not want to seek re-election this time? He's not the first one. Abdulkadir Mohammed, who was MP in Mandera, decided I wasn't going to seek re-election in 2013.
Maybe
Having served in parliament, having risen even to the point where he was the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitution Review, having midwifed the birth of Constitution of Kenya 2010, having gone into the implementation of the Constitution and the laws that were there, spearheaded that. He decided, you know what, in the next election, I am not. When he came here, when he visited us in the studio, when we asked him, so are you going back? He said, I voluntarily retired from elective politics.
Look, it's possible that somebody has attained the heights, that this is what they aspired to do. That where they reached, they felt that, all right, I've been there, done that, and I bought the T-shirt, so I leave while the party is still hot. I do not want to be here until I become a political dinosaur. I'm not interested. I'm done. Let me move on and do something else.
And do something different.
And clear the path for somebody else to come and take over. You see, the thing is, you're asking if it's odd. Isn't the odd thing to want to hang on to the position forever and ever, as we see a lot of people do?
No, that's not the odd thing. That's the normal.
But isn't it that the flip side is actually what could become normalized?
It's the normal. The normal thing is once
to hang
you've been
on
elected,
until you're dead and buried in the position.
You go in the first time as a senator in the 70s. You go until people tell you become president. They elect you as president, and you're Joe Biden, and you're president. How many years in office? 40 plus in elective politics.
As in, people have always seen and known that you've been there. But is there anything wrong with having this revolving kind of politics that we're talking about?
That someone just serves and then they get to a point where they say,
I've done what I said I set out to do. I have achieved what I intended. Let me go. Just because I've done a good job doesn't mean I should be there for everlasting and milele.
We see that. For example, we are seeing that in governors because there is a constitutional limit.
There's a term,
We see that with presidents because there is a limit. Should we introduce those limits then to the assemblies, to the legislative assemblies, and say,
done, man.
If
you can't look, my friend,
if you're elected consecutively, you become an MP for 4 terms.
In 15
whether
years,
it's consequent or whether they one after 10 years, another 5.
15 years, they've not felt the impact of your leadership and governance. They've not felt the impact of your legislation, things that you've been able to go and push for in Parliament. Another 15 years is not going to bring it about. Are you going to have a sudden epiphany and say, okay, now let's start working after 15 years? No, man. If you've not done it in a certain period of time, chances are that you're probably not going to fulfill it. So why are you sticking around? I actually don't blame this fella, and I think he's actually made a very good move here. 15 years, it could be that he's physically tired, but it clearly is not, because he says, maybe I can work in government. But in terms of elective politics, what I have been able to deliver, I've delivered. And it is clear that he's delivered, because the people on the ground are telling him, hey,
not even that.
Where are you going? You should have consulted us.
They re-elected him twice.
With other opponents.
Every time there's a re-election, it means it's an endorsement. We like what you're doing.
Exactly.
Keep doing what you're doing.
So now he's saying, I have come into the position. I have been able to prove that I can do it. I have been able to prove that it works. So let me exit and let somebody else come and take over. Why should I stay here until I am long in tooth? Why?
He says, I need to be taken seriously. My time is up and I do not wish to be like other leaders who cling to power in a bid to amass wealth. I've been at the nerve center of government operations after serving as National Assembly Deputy Chief Whip for 10 years and Chief Whip for 2 years.
I've done it. I've done it at the nerve center of making decisions. I've done it at legislating for my area of Mumias East. People have seen the impact that I've had. It's okay. I'm good. I'm done. I've shown you that what I said I would do. And I've done it. Let somebody else come and continue.
You know, it's introducing a certain debate here.
It's making you feel somehow because people don't usually leave, right?
What's happening in my mind is I'm thinking, so term limits were introduced for executive positions.
Right.
All right? And this is at president level, at governor level. Because it's executive, because you have access to instruments of power and all. So serve 2 terms, let the people then have a choice to elect somebody else. Okay? Those, at the time when those were being discussed, it never ever occurred that we should discuss anything about people who are being elected to represent people in the National Assembly. Why? Because the thinking is there's that 5-year assessment that's done by the voters. The main thing that we want you to do is go and do 3 things. Go and represent us, represent us in legislation, and hold the executive that we put into office, hold it to account. Oversight. Those three things of a county assembly, of a national assembly, of parliament. Representation, legislation, oversight. If people don't feel that you're performing those three functions properly, they do not re-elect you.
Sure.
So there's that. Already there's a sieve. If people are unhappy with you, they are not going to bring you back. Now, what Washali is doing, what Abdikadir did, and others have done, is saying, you know what, I feel I have served my people well enough, and I think let somebody else also be picked. Should we then reintroduce that debate? Should we reintroduce the term limits for elected representatives in assemblies?
Yes. Go in knowing that you have a certain time frame within which you will get certain things done. Don't just go and because you have a lot of people who've been there for ages,
and they get re-elected because they know how to
maneuver
play the system,
their way within the system, right? Not necessarily because they're delivering in terms of mandate, but because you know how to do this here, move things about here and there, and people are going to continue keeping you in the limelight. But look at those who are actually getting this thing done. Getting the thing done, you'll find that maybe they don't have any desire to be there. It's just maybe now they don't have a coolness to say, okay, you know what, let me leave. But here you have examples of people who said, you know what, when I went in, I wanted to do 1, 2, 3. Look at it. I've done 1, 2, 3. I've risen to the highest position that I can at this level. And I've been able to do it. So let me go. And I think so. Let me tell you, if you give people a time within which they should get something done, you will see the results will change. Legislation, in order to bring about development in the country. And then you're just playing around. No, actually, I think so. For elective positions such as this, give it a term limit. Give it a term limit and you will see how people will change in terms of their work.
0719-012-600. Join this conversation. I'm actually not very sure. Join the conversation. Should we introduce term limits for elected members of County Assembly, National Assembly and the Senate? Right? In these legislative bodies, should we introduce term limits? We currently have term limits for executive positions. That's the governor, deputy governor, governors and president. We have term limits. Should we have term limits for this? Because we are seeing now, this is another MP who decided this time I'm not going to seek re-election. Moses Kuri in Gatondo South has said he's not seeking re-election in this particular election. But you see, he has explained he has a new political party. He wants to focus on popularizing the party. It's not that he's retiring from politics and elective politics. He may come back. He may even decide, you know, I'm going to vie in August. Maybe. But Washali has come out and said, thank you, 3 terms. I appreciate the privilege. I am not seeking re-election. Abdikadir Mohammed said, thank you, people of Mandera. I am not going to be seeking re-election. I'm taking a break from politics. Should we introduce that? A term limit and say you are elected maybe 3 times, that's it, you have a maximum. Is it going to have any impact? And you're saying, Ndu, that if you introduce a term limit, then the people will work hard knowing
within
I
this
have a certain
period,
time
you
to
have
go.
a certain time to make an impact and tell us that this thing that you're floating about telling us you can do, you will actually get it done. Because after this time, you will go home.
Maybe not. Maybe they'll come, now, because you want to be re-elected. You find ways of connecting with the people. Because you want to come back to parliament. You're used to this life of Mweshimiwa. You're used to this life of the privileges of being an elected member of parliament. You want to keep connecting with the people, keep going back to the people so that they can keep electing you.
Back, yeah.
Because you know very well, 5 years, you will have to go and face the people again. And they could easily not give you that opportunity again. So already that exists.
I think the limit
the fear of an election and the fact that we know more than 60%, close to 75% of elected leaders in one term of parliament do not come back.
I think the limit of time impresses upon individuals that, you only have, certain wiggle room to get things done. I think the limit of time gives you some kind of perspective to say, okay, well, I do this, I perform, or essentially I'm out. But
also maybe we lose something else. We may lose that wealth of knowledge, of institutional memory, of understanding the traditions of a parliament.
By
saying, you only serve 3 terms, go, 3 terms, go, 3 terms, go.
That's 15 years we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 15 years.
Beyond that, so
but who says
you lose that strength. So, for example,
take up another position in government.
Look at people who've been elected to parliament for more than their 3 terms. All right, what do they have? What do they bring to parliament?
People like Shakil Shabir.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's in 3rd term as well. People like James Orengo, for example, who've been there for many years. All right, in and out. There's what they bring to parliament. They remember debate on certain matters, on certain issues, why we arrived at a certain decision, why we passed a certain law, why we opposed a certain law, why we did not pass a certain bill. They bring that to parliament. You could say parliament is an institution of record anyway, so it doesn't matter whether it's
remember anyway. It doesn't matter.
It's there. It's in hazard.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel that this example that we've been given, that here is somebody who obviously is calculated in the way in which he's thinking. And the same thing with Abdikadir, that somebody is calculated in the way in which they operate and say, you know what, it's been 15 years. Over the last 15 years, look at what we've been able to achieve. How about I do something else? And I think that is not a bad thing, because you say, you're not just going to sit there and while about your time and waste taxpayers' money and not get anything done. But what we're saying that you ought to do is that say, look, you have time within which certain things need to be done. Take the time seriously, get it done, and then move on and let somebody else either come and continue with what you started or pick up where you left off and add some other new things to the pot. If you allow it to be open-ended, people can use the same system that you're talking about to while away time and resources and not get anything done.
And play with the system.
I'm sure you will find examples of people who've been in the same position for those 15 years. Go and ask the people in the constituency what has been happening. They'll tell you, you are
but they vote them in.
That's the thing. But is that not what we're saying? They found ways to work within the system.
So people are getting hoodwinked.
Exactly. They give people a little taste of something.
Then they get what they deserve.
The
Speaker of the National Assembly the other day tweeted and said, people get the leaders they deserve. The people vote in garbage, they get garbage out. You see people coming to fight in Parliament and you're telling me as a Speaker, I should have controlled them. Control how? These are elected leaders. The people who elected them knew the characters that they were bringing to Parliament. Ask the electorate what they brought to Parliament. So if people continue being hoodwinked, they deserve it. If people of a certain constituency are somebody is able to manipulate the system and play them
over
and blah,
over
blah,
and
blah,
over
blah,
again,
and you get re-elected, you deserve it. Leave it open-ended. Let the people decide.
Leave it open-ended so that you see things are going wrong, then
if we feel
decide
we're not
to kick this person out.
Yes. If we feel you're not representing us, bas. The people of Bahati and later the people of Othaya continuously voted for Mwai Kibaki as their representative. He served in the National Assembly since the first time he got into the National Assembly as MP for Bahati in Nairobi. He moved to Othaya. He was MP for Othaya until he finished his term as president. Now, can we say the people of Othaya kept being hoodwinked?
They liked what they saw.
The people of Baringo who kept voting for Daniel Arap Moi until he left office. Can we say, from the moment the man went to Parliament before Kenya's independence, LegCo, he served in Parliament until 2002.
It seems
he represented these people. Was he playing the system?
Look, many could argue that there are certain elements that would have been used within said system to be able to get yourself re-elected over and over again. However, what I'm saying is that I still do think there's a benefit of a limit of time that it plays on how you're able to get things done.
When you know that your time is limited.
When you know that your time is limited, and if truly you have a responsibility you've borne in your heart, that you say, look, I can get 1 or 2, 3 things done for this area where I'm from. Because if you can be told that you will be there forever, and you can get by without doing anything, you will find the loophole through which you can continue. You will find
Let me tell you, finding loophole is doing a lot. That's not doing nothing.
But that's what I'm saying now.
Finding a loophole in the system.
As compared to
that
actually
gets the
getting the
people of
work
a
done on
certain
the ground, you
constituency.
sweat less, my friend.
Even finding ways
Even
of
if you
manipulating the
find your
IEBC and the
people
boundaries reviews so
you
that the
find your
boundaries
people
can be
within
created and then
community.
you are left with a certain area where you have a support.
Do you find the people within the community who will always be on your side?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
what I'm
a
talking
lot of
about,
work.
Yeah, but incomparable to the work in actually getting
It is
development done.
representation.
Incomparable to the work that you actually do to get things done.
Representing the people.
That the people of Mumias East will come and tell you, what? Where do you think you're going? After all this that we've done together, then you want to go, where are you going? The work that you do legislatively in order to get development, the wheels of development turning in a particular area, incomparable to the people that you will bribe here and there to keep you coming back into parliament every 5 years. Incomparable. To the point where people come and tell you, no, you're not going anywhere. Why didn't you come and ask us before you made this decision? We've been with you all this time and look at the work that you've done for us. Now you want to go, where are you going? By the time you're able to do something like that and people even get upset and tell you that you shouldn't go, my friend, you've done something.
Well, I
really
agree with the
well.
people of Mumias East, though. I mean, this is a bit condescending of them by Benjamin Washiali. We hear all the time politicians telling us, I am listening to the ground. I am consulting my people. My people have told me.
The ground has not
my
spoken.
ground has not spoken. If that's what has been making you go back and find out which political party to align yourself with so that you can get re-elected, when you want to quit, you decide, sit back somewhere and have a conversation, a phone call with Karen and decide, I can leave you. If you get into office, I'll get something in you. No. That is insulting the people of Mumias East. That's insulting the ground. I should have gone back to the ground and told the ground, ground, I'm thinking, if I don't do this, then I can dedicate my energy to campaign for this. Then I'll leave you guys with so-and-so, so you can support so-and-so. I'm endorsing so-and-so. Then this, go and tell the ground what you're thinking. Let the ground tell you we agree.
Perhaps.
You can't just decide.
If
Anne Waiguru did not just decide to cross over to UDA. She listened to the ground.
Which ground? You know now there are different
The
grounds.
ground told her, you know what, if you want to come back here, you come back wearing red.
Dressed like this.
Come back wearing red. Go away. Come wearing yellow, maybe. Is it yellow, yeah? It's yellow.
It's yellow.
It's yellow? Yeah, I'm a dude. Come wearing yellow. We'll agree. She listened to the ground. Girishi is listening to the ground. What is the ground telling Girishi? What? Kemeumana. Washiali listened to himself. He did an honorable thing, yes, but he was listening to himself. Clearly, according to what this story is saying. People are here saying, please come and tell us the reasons for taking the decision. It is wrong for a father to run away from home and leave his family. We've been orphaned. This is what one person, Kennedy Lombasi, UDA coordinator in Mumias East, is saying. Someone else is saying, where shall we move to with all these numbers? We have 17,000 newly registered UDA members in this constituency. He should have sat with us to chart the political way forward before announcing the decision. I agree. Public participation.
The people of Mumias East will forever be, they will forever remember the work that he did. That's for sure. He's left it better. That's, they say leave the party when it's high. He's left it better. And that's my sticking point. That within the time that he had, he did a good job. And he said, you know what? Let me now. I've proven that it can be done. So anybody else who wants to come and fill those shoes, by the way, do you think, Eric, 2022 moving forward, anybody who wants to come and stand in this position as MP in Mumias East then comes to do nonsense, you think they will be allowed to even finish year one of that term? Anybody who does below
the bar has been raised.
The bar has been set. The bar has been set. Anybody coming in now has to raise it. You lower it, these 17,000 people that they're talking about, they'll chase you out of town. They'll chase you out of town. And that's the way it should be. Set the standard high. Set the standard high across the country. You're coming into a position of leadership. Don't come and play. These are people's lives that you have in your hands. Don't come and play. You sit there for 20 years. What are you doing? What are you doing? He has done a good thing. Okay, now maybe the ground, he didn't listen to the ground. Okay, sorry. he can now come back and tell them, okay, I'm sorry.
The ground
Maybe
needs to listen to him now.
Maybe now you people should now endorse this guy. I'm sorry that I did not come to you earlier, but now I am here. Endorse this guy. He will continue with the work that we have started. But if you ask me, he's done a brilliant thing. Did a good job, left it and said, you know what, this is how we should be operating. Now anybody who comes in after me operates here and higher. Set the standard.
And simply because he walked away, then he has a moral high ground to keep questioning.
He can come back to Mumias
Any
East
leader.
in 2030 and ask any leader and say, wait a minute.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? This is what we set up. Why are you running this thing to the ground? Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. We will be talking about the political parties amendment bill that has made members of parliament come to blows, spill blood in parliament, and then they'll be back to continue the debate tomorrow. Frank Mkwanja, the executive director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, joins us. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. The construction of the 33 competency-based curriculum classes has begun in Tenerife County. The new classes will accommodate students who will be joining secondary in 2023. Successful contractors who won the tenders for the CBC infrastructural program were handed over the sites last week. The construction is expected to take not more than 12 weeks. This after Education CS Judge Magoa assured Kenyans that the government will ensure the infrastructure needed for CBC curriculum are complete on time. A woman facing murder charges over the death of a neighbor after a fighting incident in Kibarage slums will spend 8 more days in police custody pending investigations. In an affidavit filed in court, investigating officer Charles Muchoya, Clementine Nandutu is said to have fought with the deceased and caused her injuries that led to her death 5 days later. The court heard that Clementine Nandutu had fought with the deceased Mirin Jambi Mumbi on 27 December 2021, causing her injuries that are suspected to have caused her death on the 1st of January. The police want to conduct a mental examination on the suspect and get a post-mortem report on the deceased to establish the cause of death. The government has revoked an intended move to eject more than 30,000 people from Chetambe Hills in Bungoma County. Environment Cabinet Secretary Kiriaka Tobiko said that the gazettement of Chetambe Hills has been revoked by President Uhuru Kenyatta with immediate effect. He said the gazette notice will be removed immediately as further consultations are done. The CS, however, stated that an exercise to identify those who had been compensated by the state earlier but are still living in the land shall commence immediately. And Kandara Member of Parliament Alice Wahome now claims President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure has been abuse of power and cruelty on Kenyans. She censured President Kenyatta's reign, saying it has seen abuse of power by the state and terrorizing of innocent citizens. She faulted Kenyatta's governance, citing the recent deployment of the military and burning key public institutions, saying their installations is an abuse of military roles. Since the fallout between President Kenyatta and his Deputy President William Ruto, leaders allied to the DP have accused Uhuru of using investigative agencies to harass them for their political stand. And a section of university and college students drawn from Murang'a County have vowed not to allow politicians to misuse them during the electioneering period. The learners allied to Murang'a Students Association claim that politicians usually use young people to clinch elective positions, but once they ascend to power, they forget the predicament of the many jobless youth. Speaking during the annual general meeting, the students condemned such leaders whose sentiments use young people to cause chaos during the electioneering period. Led by the chairperson Gibson Kamande, the students observed that politicians have already started mobilizing university and college students to win their support. Mining and Petroleum Chief Administrative Secretary John Mosonik has announced that he will contest for the Bomet governor's seat in the 2022 elections. Mosonik attributes his interest in the county leadership in his vast experience in the private sector and in the ministry, which he says has granted him what it takes to lead the county. He has promised to address challenges facing the county should he ascend to power. The CIS outlined the challenges facing the people of Bomet, saying that he had the ultimate solution to address them. The Omicron variant's rapid spread across France has prompted the government to slash COVID-19 isolation times for vaccinated people and move to further isolate the unvaccinated from public venues in a bid to ease the financial and social burdens of the outbreak. Self-isolation times for fully vaccinated people who test positive has dropped from 10 days to 7 and can be cut down to 5 days with a negative test result. France reported increased COVID-19 numbers and became the 6th country in the world to surpass 10 million total recorded cases of COVID-19 over the weekend. And 2 armed drones were shot down as they approached an Iraqi military base hosting US forces near Baghdad's international airport. The attack came as Iran and its allies Iraq marked the 2nd anniversary of the assassination of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was killed in a drone strike near Baghdad airport ordered by the then US President Donald Trump. This is Newswire. Dennis Arseto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
.5 Spice FM. Kisumu.
The CBD is quite blocked this morning, and we're looking at a lot of traffic coming in from all directions. Gong Road coming in through Kenyatta Avenue via Valley Road. We're looking at coming out of Westlands and also coming in from Parklands. Quite messy on Haile Selassie Avenue today. Coming off Kamkunji Landis Road is quite tight in and outbound. A little bit of traffic in and outbound on Jogo Road as well, and we're looking at dot of traffic off Wayaki Way as well as Ngong Road. Let's look at Langata Road, which has been faring pretty well this morning. A little bit of inbound traffic. Lunga now is piling up as well. Jogo Road started quite early and that continues even till now. Outer Ring, not too bad this morning. We're looking at Manyanja Road going out towards the interchange, and we had some issues there around Donholm, but nothing major. Probably getting into the mid of the week is when we'll see most of the traffic picking up. But for now, this morning, it doesn't look too bad. You can maneuver through this without too much of a scratch. Shall we talk about it? Let's do that on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation
coming up
Room,
to 8 minutes
the
after
only
8,
way
the
to
4th
start
day
your
of
day.
January 2022. Very soon, by the way, Ndu. We'll be saying 2023.
Can you see now how you started?
Very soon.
You know, you've
in
not
just
even,
about 12 months' time.
You've not even seen the 5th of January.
Hey, because I'm just remembering how just the other day we said 2020, 2021, 2022. Now, here we are.
In 2022.
Very, very fast. Kenya's biggest conversation gets into the third hour. We're here until 10 a.m. We broadcast the show on SpiceFM every morning, 94.4 in Nairobi, 87.9 in Mombasa, 102.5 in Kisumu, 96.0 in Nakuru, 96.7 in Eldoret, 90.9 in Nyeri, and Malindi, 97.7. We are also live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE on YouTube and Facebook. And for the next about 50 minutes, we are also live on KTN Home. A very good morning to the audience that are joining us on TV. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. So let me begin with the day's proverb on behalf of CT Muga, who is still away recharging his batteries. It's a Somali proverb. One doesn't tell a man, go away, but one shows him something so that he'll go. One doesn't tell a man, go away. Let me use the word chase. One doesn't chase a man, go away. Uses something, shows him something so that he will go. It's a Somali proverb. Right, so let's change the conversation now and talk about the political parties amendment bill that's before the National Assembly. It is a bill that we saw, in the last couple of days, getting MPs to a point of blows and I don't know, someone beat someone's finger. I don't know, someone was admitted. Someone was admitted because of a bitten finger. I don't know whether they got a tetanus shot. I don't know what happened to the teeth that bit. All these things. Getting to a point where even the Speaker of the National Assembly is saying, but Munaona, this is what you're bringing. Garbage in, garbage out. Someone's speaker did not say that garbage elected him to be the speaker, but I digress. Let's talk about that bill. The executive director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, Kenya, Frank Mkwanja, joins us now in the Situation Room. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Eric. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. This is my maiden appearance here.
Yes, we've been planning this. You see, we waited specifically for this particular opportunity.
Very much honored.
It's good to have you in the show.
Great.
Ndu says good morning.
Yes. My spokesman here has assisted me in greeting you. Karibu sana.
I want us to start by, first of all, understanding CMD Kenya, and then we'll go into the bill.
Correct.
Who is Center for Multi-Party Democracy?
Center for Multi-Party Democracy is an organization for, of, and by political parties, founded way back in 2004. With the mission to strengthen individual political parties so that they can contribute to a meaningful multi-party democratic environment in the country. So over the years, we have led inter-party dialogue. We have held political parties to account by making sure they're doing that at a peer level and also sharing, doing study exchange visits, capacity building, training of women, contributing incrementally to the two-third gender discourse to the level that it is today. We have worked with young people. We provide alternative voices for political parties jointly, and that is the work we do. So inter-party dialogue, critical training young people and special interest groups to meaningfully engage in politics, quite critical, contributing to the policy, legal and constitutional framework around political parties in this country.
So it's a membership organization?
Yes.
And who are the members?
Political parties.
Okay.
Which political parties?
All these political parties. Jubilee is a member of CMD. ODM is a member of CMD. ANC, Wiper, Ford Kenya, NARC Kenya. All these political parties. We currently have a membership, a fully subscribed membership of 16 out of our target of 28. We have a criteria that members become members of CMD. Political parties become members of CMD. You need to have at least one elected leader at a national level. That is in the Senate, presidency, or
National Assembly.
And then any seat at the county level, be it members of county assembly, but those ones we make them 5. So at the county level, you must have at least 5 elected MCAs. At a national level, you need to get at least 1. So there are 28 such political parties. We have a membership of 16 currently, with all major political parties involved.
So, can we essentially say that the center is a place where political parties then would be able to come and get better in their practice of politics, to be able to, bump heads every now and then, figure out ways to operate better within the country?
Correct. And it's not only at the CMD. It is important that all of us get involved in politics because it is about defining issues and disagreeing on the approaches to solve the problem, but at least agreeing on what is the problem. And I think that has incrementally been missing in this country. And CMD, we provide that space to look at issues and say this is critical, must be considered regardless of the approach. We agree that it's a problem that we must solve. For instance, we have generally agreed that the question of money in politics is an issue that we must look at. So campaign financing for all these political parties is something key that we should be concerned. The question of gender equality and social inclusion in political parties is a matter that we have to approach collectively as political parties and raise our standards. The third question that we have generally agreed is the issue of representation, that people must be well represented. And in the course of doing that, they must be involved in determining what question are we considering as our challenge. So which party is proposing which are solutions so that we can vote based on policy alternatives.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know we want to look at the bill in detail today, but I think maybe this question will help us then now usher into that. So where does issue-based politics then play in all of this? Because if we look at the origin, history of political parties, where they began was to be able to use this body to be able to tackle issues that affected people and nations, right? Along the line, it would appear as though the plot was lost and that now political parties were then, or even till today, are being used then to hoist a particular individual into the limelight. That everybody joins a political party to then be part of a movement that then gets somebody into government, and then we can all eat from this pie.
Yeah.
So where did we lose it, and how then are we trying to bring it back? If at all, that is where we want to go.
Indeed, it is only through political parties that you can be able to aggregate and communicate interests, regardless of which way we want to work. It is through political parties that we'll do that. But it's not true that political parties have entirely failed to do this in this country. I think we must appreciate that work is ongoing. We compare ourselves to developed democracies, the question, which is a good thing to encourage us. But the question we must be responding to, are political parties willing to take that route? Are they being pushed by the supposed members that should be part of the political parties? Kenyans are weaker at contributing, dedicating themselves to political discourses. But if you look at it, the leadership of the political parties have also failed to deliberately consider issues in the aggregating and communicating the interests. What we have arrived at is a competition of ethnicity. If you look at the order of priority in terms of which issues inform Kenyan politics, you will consider that ethnicity is key, money is second, thirdly it could be technology now, because of COVID and the nature of the voter that you have today. They are not rally goers. You have to engage them alternatively. Issues come at number 4. And it's a weakness on both ends of demand and supply. Leaders are not deliberately mobilizing around issues because it is easy to influence political outcomes through ethnicity, through money, and now through technology. All right. Voters are not really demanding these issues because they also not dedicating themselves to the process. Things like, social vetting, those processes are weak because of the level of interest that the general Kenyan has. And we need to create that demand. As we talk. So political parties have not failed, but we need to do a lot more. When we compare ourselves to developed democracies, we should be asking ourselves, if we do what America was doing 50 years ago, would our democracy be good? We are facing a different environment. We have different voters. We have different needs. The world is changing, even the climate-wise. There are issues that we have to respond to urgently. How do we use political parties to mainstream these arguments? But we agree that this is the problem. Political parties then disagree on the approaches of solving that problem.
Is it because we actually do not have political parties in this country, Frank? We have vehicles, we have things called political parties that have to be registered by law. But really, practically, do we have political parties in this country?
At the leadership level, no. I agree with you. But at the structural level, I think we have seen political parties develop processes, systems that, those structures that can get people to, can help political parties form and institutionalize as a public entity. But in terms of leadership, we are not seeing political parties doing their role in providing leadership on the issues of the day. They're used mainly to meet political leaders' ends than really pursue those issues. We have a Labour Party, for instance, but have we had these parties come up with, industrial questions? We have employment problems. We have we have issues of layoffs, joblessness, and we need these parties to articulate these issues in a way that convinces those people that their interests are being communicated, that we should be part of this process, so that we can raise our voices and our concerns. That's how I look at it, Eric.
If we look at the development of our multi-party democracy, let's just look back in the last 30 years. Okay, so we wanted more than one political party. We had only one thing called KANU. We ordered more. So we have had very many more. We have how many registered political parties now?
We have about 80 registered.
About 80.
Fully registered, and 80. About 10 or so partially registered.
So about 8, let's talk about the fully registered. 80 registered political parties. About 28 that qualify to meet CMD. That means that they have elected leaders at national level, or five at least at the county level. Are they just vehicles, or are they really political parties? Are we advancing our multi-party democracy, or are we every day eroding that dream and aspiration of actually turning Kenya into a multi-party democracy?
I'll use the analogy my Sunday school teacher used one time growing up. Salvation, she put it this way, salvation is about facing the right direction. How you walk towards the right direction is what salvation is, but you must face the right direction. And I think our country, in terms of multi-party democratic development, is facing the right direction. We have provided for how political parties should be found. If you look at Article 91 and Article 260, quite clear on what a political party is. I keep on asking, then why are we redefining what a political party is if it's provided for in Article 91 and Article 260? Can we realign ourselves to this? And one of the issues that we've raised with political parties is that idea of a corporate member, for instance. Being a political party, being a member of another political party. Now, our question is, Eric, as a member of, can you be a member of two political parties? And the answer is no. So why do we want?
So legally, I no individual can be a member of two parties.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But we created
we're having a debate now where I can be a member of this political party, and then the party can be a member of another party.
Yes.
By extension, I then become a member of the two.
That party.
Yeah. Look at such confusion. We have this. So we are facing the right direction. Why I'm saying so? We have a constitution that is pointing us in the right direction. Any turns that can be done, and Parliament should be keen not to be a tool for political buffoonery and pursuing selfish gains, because Parliament uses donated power from the citizens. And if we engage in this discourse clearly, you will see that Parliament will push through some of these processes. But if they're challenged in the court, then a court overturns some of them, which means that the Constitution has provided that safety net that things cannot just get out of order completely. So as we continue responding, if you look at our advancement from 92, how political parties got involved in the electoral process, 97, 2002, how they began to have a conversation in terms of coalitions, 2013 about mergers, all right? To date, when political parties are looking at, again, discussing and amending the Constitution, it's a process that we must say we are facing the right direction.
And that's why, Frank, I'm looking back at all those things that you've actually mentioned, and I can't help but wonder whether we are actually facing in the right direction or whether we are turning from that right direction.
Any attempt
the
to
idea
force a
of
turn
1992
is challenged consistently, yes.
The idea of 1992 of let's have more than one political party.
Yeah.
And political parties are formed. We see Ford and they splinter, but we see Ford, DP, and the others forming. And people joining those parties and people supporting the structures of those parties and people holding national delegates conferences for those parties. Progressively, those things are no longer taking place. We are not seeing NDCs taking place in parties. We are not seeing proper national elections taking place in parties. We have all these political parties who are members of your organization, the 16 of them, I bet you, all of them have caretaker leadership because they have not held an election according to the laws and the constitutions of their own party and the law of the land. So we have all these things on paper, but we are moving away from the ideals of a multi-party democracy.
You see, I insist that we're facing the right direction because any attempts to force an alternative direction has been challenged successfully in court processes. Yesterday, two organizations went to court to challenge the campaign financing the elections campaign financing,
regulations.
Actually, action by Parliament, and this tells us that you cannot get away with what is being done. If it's about political parties' compliance, we have seen IBC have a conversation with political parties and initially tell them, look, your party primaries, your party nomination procedures are not in order. And they were able to work on that. We will have a ruling on the elections campaign financing that will clearly settle the question of how we regulate money in our politics. Already, we have a ruling around the 2/3 gender rule. And today, political parties cannot submit to IEBC a list. Let me put it this way. If you want to field in all the 290 constituencies, you have to provide IEBC with a list that has at least 130 women. All right? If you don't do so, the IEBC will not receive that list. All these developments and rulings and ideas are moving the multi-party democratic development process forward. And it's not just the action of political parties. Political parties given a free hand, they would, as we have seen, want to have conversations go in a particular direction. I'll give you, for example, in 2017, we had amendments, last-minute amendments to the Elections Act. And you would look at those amendments and ask yourself, is it for purposes of the elections or is it for purposes of leveling the playing field for a particular candidate or all candidates or all the voters? And the answer is no. It is not for it's not for the elections and leveling the playing field for everyone. We have, if it was, we have the elections bill again pending in Parliament. We have the elections campaign financing amendment pending in Parliament. We have the political parties primaries pending in Parliament. Why just this,
amendment bill?
Political parties amendment bill. Clearly, why is
What's the contention here? And I think even as we see this then playing out tomorrow back in the House, there's a lot of contention. There's a lot of noise, a lot of billows of smoke going up right now. But I think there's a lack of understanding in terms of what's really in contention for this bill right now. So what exactly is going on, at the center of it?
Yeah, three things from where I sit. One is the question of public participation. Earlier I mentioned that this bill was published on 3rd December. It was received by the Parliament Legal Department on the 15th of December. Mark you, the National Assembly had progress had left for their longer, long recess on 2nd of December. All right? Then it is recalled in the week of 20th to consider this bill. And if you look at the questions that should be considered are weighty. One of the questions is what exactly a political party means. And we are faced by a constitutional question, actually. Is the proposed amendment to make a party have a corporate membership constitutional? Is it constitutional? And the answer may be no, right? And we are clear that even if it passes, we have to have that clarified as well. The other question that we have to confront ourselves is the issue of how long we should take to register a political party. They're extending it to 270 days from the initial 180. What is really the question? Why should it take this long? Is it not a question of public participation? The other question that we have to look at is the conduct of Parliament itself. If they are ready to have a conversation and vote about it, disregarding what it contains and entails public participation, what precedents are they setting? And these are challenges that we have to confront.
These are the issues.
And then finally, I have said, we have all these other bills that should positively contribute to the organizing, the conduct, the preparations, and the authenticity and the verification of the results. The elections bill is still pending in Parliament. The political parties primaries bill, which then the political parties primaries are coming in 60 days or so, is pending in Parliament. The elections campaign financing bill is pending in Parliament. Why just this particular one? And these are the questions we're asking. For what? And is it to improve on the preparations of the elections?
Or is it to erode?
Or is it for the sake of political buffoonery and selfish gains of the House?
Let's take a break at this point. It's 29 minutes to 9 o'clock. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room on SpiceFM, live streaming on SpiceFM KE, Facebook and YouTube, and also live on KTN Home. We have with us in the studio Frank Mukwanja, the Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy Kenya. We are discussing the Political Parties Amendment Bill that's before Parliament. What's the hullabaloo about this bill? And how does it affect our journey towards having a multi-party democracy in this country? We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person. Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
The group of leaders we are having now, Kenyans, listen, the chemical composition is the same. You will mold them to ODM, then NASA, you mold them to Kanu, mold them to Jubilee, mold them to any other different color sometimes, but the chemical composition is the same.
It's not about me as Nurdin Haji, but it's about the constitution that I swore to protect. So when individuals attempt to hoard those powers and they want to be investigators and also prosecutors, then of course I have to defend that position because that position is in the constitution and that's what Kenyans wanted.
I'll tell you what happens is that when you ignore court orders, you're creating and quoting anarchy. then you create a very dangerous precedent.
A story is told of the first president of the country who also went to visit Mathare, presidential tour. Yeah? And of course, he went to this place and he introduced himself. So one of the enemies says, hata wewe kuna jina kama yangu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 18, highs of 26 and lows of 16 today. It's sunny in Nakuru at 16, highs of 29 and we'll see lows of 14. 11 will be the low in a partly sunny Nyeri at 14 with highs of 24, while Eldoret will be mostly cloudy at 13. It'll go to highs of 26 and lows of 12. It's sunny in Mombasa today at 27, highs of 32 and lows of 26, while Malindi is sunny as well at 27, exactly like Mombasa. We're looking at sunny conditions in Kisumu at 21, highs of 29 and lows of 19, and it's sunny at 21 in Kakamega with highs of 31 and lows of 16. Out in Kampala, it's sunny as well at 20. We'll see highs of 28, while 32 will be the high in Dar es Salaam. It's partly sunny at 28. Mostly cloudy conditions at 15 in Johannesburg, highs of 25 today, and there's still a haze over Lagos skies at 24, highs of 33 today. 29 will be the high, slightly cooler in Kinshasa. It's raining at 23. That'll be the low for today.
Spice up your life. Spice FM, Malindi.
So, the non-existent traffic in Nairobi decided all to move to Landis off Jogo Road today and then onto Haile Selassie Avenue via the Kamkunji roundabout. That's why it looks really sticky this morning. And it started off pretty early and then feeds traffic right into the CBD today. So the feeder road for that is Landis and then to the Kamkunji roundabout. And then Haile Selassie is taking it off Gong Road as well as Valley Road down through Kenyatta Avenue. Huru Highway quite some as well, especially after the Bunyai Road roundabout. That's really slow. If you look on the other side of things coming from State House through to Chiromo, traffic is inbound from there. Okay, Langata Road is trying to contend with the big boys of traffic this morning, but not really happening. Langata Road, sorry, not today. Looks pretty good there. Lunga, just a little bit here and there. And North Airport Road as well. It's all right. Mombasa Road, you'll be okay, at least for today. Thika Superhighway is still asleep. She says, use me, go to town in 10 minutes and be back because there's no traffic here whatsoever. Let's keep it that way, Thika Road, shall we? At least until Friday. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It is 20
mornings done right.
The Situation Room on Spice FM, KTN Home, and live streaming the show online. With us in the studio is Frank Mukwanja, Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, Kenya. We are talking about the political parties amendment bill that's raised a storm in Parliament. So, Frank, just as a brief, what is it that the political parties amendment bill seeks to do? If we were just to explain it using clearly labeled diagram for 25 marks.
Yeah, I think what we are contending here is a conversation that is faulty. And without even going into the exact details, is that the entire conversation is faulty. Because the idea of redefining what political parties are and saying that one political party can be a member of another, when the same Constitution in Article 91 and Constitution and 260 defines already for us for political party. We also already have a law that is clear. If there are two political parties that share a particular opinion, can they merge? And that happened in 2013. Jubilee itself is a product of about 12 collapsed political parties.
Sure.
All right? We know very well that a coalition is a cooperation, is a combined action by the political parties, and that is already provided.
So what is the bill seeking? What is the bill? What are the proposals, the key proposals in this bill? Number one, it says redefine.
It's about the redefining what is a coalition.
Okay.
It's about redefining a political party. It's about calling a coalition a political party. That is number one. Number two is about the period of registering a political party, which I don't think is a major issue. But we have to agree on, in terms of, is it 180? Is it 270 days? What does it to register a political party? What should be the contributions for individual members to register a political party? I think that a basic conversation that we want to talk about. The other basically is the other basically for clear reasons. Is the party primaries. That they are saying let's have direct party primaries or let's have indirect party primaries. What that does is that it limits the political parties.
What does it mean, direct or indirect? What's the difference?
Indirect means that the political party executives can sit and say, we have candidate
this is
X.
our choice move.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the executives of the party can basically nominate.
Yes. Can pick a candidate and say we have by-elections in constituency B and our candidate is XYZ.
Yeah.
And that's the decision. Direct nomination, indirect nomination is other means that the candidates, have a consensus and have that, discussions. The other aspect that is clear, that is required, is that the party members need to participate in these processes. Where we're saying that let's centralize this decision of who becomes the candidate is a huge problem that has to be confronted. Because we know very well that in some of the areas, we have the party primaries are as good as elections.
Sure.
So if you don't have a sufficient mechanism to participate at that level meaningfully, then continuously we get in leaders through the processes that we are unable to participate because of the gatekeepers that are existing and are using the law to try to do that at every
to manipulate
election.
the system.
So this is exactly what we're seeing here, because then, forgive me for seeing a little bit beyond this, but then we have to look at how things have been heavily politicized in this country historically, right? Now, in as much as we see the decisions that could come out of this debate tomorrow, telling heavily on what is going to happen in the next couple of months, and as important as that is, I still see this as politics playing from one side to the other, because a decision would then be made, and what happens is that you have one side then benefiting over another. If we're looking at the corporate membership, for example, if I have a political party and I'm a member of this party, and if the law already says that I can only be a member of one party, if this party then becomes a member of this other body corporately, essentially what I am is a member of two political parties. So what that does is that it increases your numbers and then it gives you advantage in terms of numbers. It does, however we want to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So you can see this playing out where one side vehemently already is refusing and saying absolutely not, because we're disadvantaged. Another side is saying, let's pass this thing because we then are advantaged. And so we have these sides playing off against each other. And the spirited efforts that members of parliament are making right now is maybe not about the law or the act, but it's more about the politics of the two sides playing against each other.
I agree. And I started by saying this, that this is about leveling the playing field for a particular interest in the coming elections. It has nothing to do with preparing sufficiently to improve the elections so that all of us participate well in a verifiable process with a justifiable outcome that is credible and can be challenged, and you can all arrive at a decision and say, look, this is the outcome of the process. This is clear leveling the playing field for one of the interests.
But can we also argue that it could help In the long run,
in what way?
Some of the provisions maybe of the bill could help in the long run in a democratization and localizing our democracy. Say, for example, the definition of a political party, and now introducing that definition of a corporate political party. Why? What's the context behind it? How long have we gone through the journey of coalitions, and what successes have we had in the journey of coalitions?
Or why did we
what
have
challenges have we
in
had in the journey of coalitions? So let's look at the coalitions. Jubilee Coalition, CORD Coalition in 2013. NASA Coalition in 2017. What have we learned from this? What mistakes have been made out of those coalitions? CORD Coalition and NASA Coalition, for example, we've seen the whole discussion and debate around the sharing of the political parties' fund.
Eric, the overall, the overall answer for me to you about coalitions and parties is that coalition is a killer of multipartism. And I'll tell you this way. There are the positive and the negative effects of the coalition parties that we've had. One of the positive ones is that, look, the 2010 constitution process was a good product of a coalition between ODM and PNU. And you may argue that without that political environment and coalition politics and being able to say these are the priorities that we will pursue as a coalition, then you may say that may not be possible, may not have been possible. And that will also help you understand why the 2005 constitutional referendum ended up that way. And so that is one positive about coalitions. But the negative part of it is that we then stop talking about the issues in the coalition to talk about the individuals. What am I going to gain as an individual when I am in government? Because at that time, we have already sacrificed our own constituencies. We have sacrificed our issues at the behest of raw political power. And therefore, you're not representing anything else other than self-interest. So the coalitions have had both negative and positive impacts. But as a multi-party practitioner, I'll tell you clearly and definitely that we may not be very successful as a country going forward in terms of multi-party development if we continually have political coalitions that are not functioning. We are better off, wearing our crowns as Kenyans and developing the political parties for obvious reasons. That even this conversation that we are having today is because it's a faulty conversation. We retain Article 91 and Article 260 conversation that whatever we are saying that we want to change, meaning, can we have a conversation about it? That is in itself making sure that we are safeguarding our democratic practices. But as long as we're going to allow Parliament to say we are passing the law, that one political party can become a member of a political party without hearing what the views of the Kenyans are, that means that we're being taken for granted.
But they are
and we don't want this conversation to move to court. We want this conversation to remain in the political space, Parliament and the political parties.
Sure, Frank, but they are passing the law. They are the ones who will legislate, right? So that means that there must be participation in this process. How does that happen? You know, we often say it and it sounds really fancy. And we say, yes, we must all participate in the making of the law. We must participate and get our representatives to represent our views when they go to Parliament. The debate that is happening, that happened on the 29th in Parliament, so they almost slept there into the new year, and the one that is going to happen tomorrow, has nothing to do with the views of Kenyans today who want to be involved in the political process. Let's just be honest, right? Now, here you are saying that moving forward, such a debate, retain Article 91, retain 1, 2, 3. How, practically, are Kenyans who have a stake in this supposed to be involved in the process, whereby the people who are involved in legislating all have interests that they're trying to safeguard and are the ones who are essentially going to put it down in red ink in the law? How?
Even the commitment, leave alone the commitment for public participation, even just showing interest. Because the only argument that we have been given for now is that it was published in the daily papers. All right? How many people have access to the physical papers every day? I have to subscribe if I want to read the Standard. I have to subscribe. How many of us are capable of doing that? So there is no interest at all to consult the public on the part of the political class. The public has not said we do not want to participate. What have been the opportunities and avenues provided for? And the question is at the core that we already organized ourselves in 2010 by clearly defining what we thought is a political party. All right? So anyone that wants to have a different definition about it must then, it behooves that person that they must be available opportunities for us to engage. And this is exactly what are the complaints about this process, that it may pass in Parliament, but I can basically say that we're going to have a constitutional interpretation of some of the amendments that are going to happen.
I agree with you, Frank, in as far as, we're talking about the process being followed in adequate engagement with the public on this particular matter. But I just want to go back on to the bigger picture. What's the context behind this? Yes, I've heard what you've said about, our multi-party democracy and whether coalitions are actually advancing us or not advancing us towards that direction. But what's our context in this country? In 92 and 97, what was the conversation immediately after the election? Opposition, unite. Was it not? If you want to get this person who has gotten only 30% of the vote and ended up winning as the president, if you want to beat him, then opposition, unite. That was 92, 97. It happened in 2002. Opposition, unite. Opposition, won. But opposition united, they were coming from different organizations, different backgrounds.
Yes.
And the unity is not fold up necessarily. We had only seen NDP and folding up into KANU, but the others were not folding up. So our context is opposition unite is form a coalition, have an agreement of certain arrangement on what you're going to do as political parties ahead of an election or even post an election. And we have seen them coming together pre-election. In 2013, they came together pre-election. 2017, they came together pre-election. What has happened then beyond that? I'm looking at it from that context. If this is what we are learning as our lessons, is it wrong for us to advance the conversation and say, okay, so clearly one political party is going to find it very difficult to win government in an election. You'll need to bring in like-minded political parties.
You need to be corporate.
Like-minded. So those like-minded coming together into a coalition, how are they going to govern themselves and maintain that coalition post-election? They are not maintaining themselves post-election. So how do we do that? Maybe that's why this conversation is coming in. Is it not?
No. Because it is not about improving on the elections coming August. That is a straight no. It is basically to level the playing field in favor of the political class and against the bottom.
Absolutely.
And that is why we need to ask them if it is very much necessary, can we then be able to have, because we will all participate in the elections in August, right?
Yes.
As journalists, as election observers, like some of us, as voters, firstly, and as candidates, and we all will have our contribution. Any contextual conversation today must include the content of how to improve on the conduct of our elections in 2022. 9th August, until the election, the results are declared 7 days later, at most 15th, I think. Then we need this an independent, strong judiciary to, adjudicate the matters that will arise. But this process must be fair, must be transparent, must be credible and verifiable. So when you just come up with last-minute amendments like this, taking advantage or taking it for granted, I think the questions must be raised, all right? And that is the basic conversation that we really want to have.
Or to be able to see through what exactly is happening at the moment.
Yes.
Where a lot of time is being taken up, where it would seem to be that you're throwing, creating a lot of dust around an issue that really is not going to
confuse us about an issue that is not available.
Exactly, that is not an issue.
We don't have a problem of what a political party definition is in this country. We have bigger problems about election campaign financing.
Or can we even go as far as Frank's as saying that it is actually not an issue that affects the electorate where they are where they are right now.
It's actually
that there are
not
other
an
issues
issue
that
at all.
affect the
Yes.
electorate at the moment that perhaps legislators should be discussing today.
Yes.
Because we're looking at an issue that affects them in terms of political expediency right now. The electorate who essentially will vote for them coming into an election are not concerned about whether
Maybe
they
it does
are
affect
to be
them.
a part of a political
Maybe it
party
does
or
affect
not.
them. Allow me just, I have to keep in throwing in these spanners in the works. Maybe it does affect the ordinary member of Amani National Congress, all right, who saw his party, Amani National Congress, join the NASA coalition, and then who saw how Amani National Congress was treated within the NASA coalition, feels, look, I'd like my party to join a coalition, but I'd like my party respected and my party's position safeguarded within that coalition.
Exactly. But now what Frank is saying is that this issue, the way you have described it right now, they are solving the problem not to solve that issue. They're having this debate not to solve what this member of Amani National Congress has an issue with. They are debating that to sort out themselves for the upcoming election, not what this individual
To the benefit of the members.
with. You see, if
Yes.
they were addressing that issue for the millions of Kenyans who may have that particular issue, you would be able to see right through that that's what they were doing. But it's not. That's not what's happening on the floor of the House.
We don't have a problem that is being solved by this proposal.
No.
And I think we will waste a lot of time by the courts also looking at this case. But that is what a democracy is. My favorite position would have been, can we have this as a political conversation? So that we're saying that the contextual environment is that we must have a successful electoral process this year, because that serves everyone, not just the political class. It serves everyone. Everyone wants a clear process that they can be able to normalize 2 weeks after a heated political process. And that is what not this amendment is trying to do. So anything that is not being done to succeed that, then what is your priority? Your priority is using parliament, to gain, selfishly. Because it's not contributing to the process in 2020. I think we should be focusing on the party primaries bill. It is before parliament today. Why is not that a conversation? I just mentioned that some two institutions have already moved to court about the elections campaign financing. We know money will play a big role in 2022 general elections. Why are we not addressing that? Because the natural conversation we've had, and it's same case with parliament again. And I liked when my former, because he was a former boss, Speaker of the National Assembly, said, you basically cabbage in, cabbage out. And I want to challenge him. Could he be also part of that?
Cabbage in.
Cabbage in, cabbage out. And I want to say this about campaign financing, particularly because of mentioning the Honorable Speaker. We have the election campaign financing bill pending in Parliament. He was leadership offered at that level. I think leadership is required. But we have IEBC that followed the Constitution in Article 88.4, I think Article 88.4I, and properly published campaign financing limits. It is a proposal, it is a function that is given by the Constitution. That proposal would have been simple by Parliament saying, yes, you have made the proposal. The Elections Act gives us an opportunity to engage the public. And whoever the amounts as the public deem necessary. Must a presidential candidate take 4 billion shillings in the campaign as proposed by Chepkati or not? And this is the conversation we want to have. But Parliament has suffocated this conversation and is trying now to entertain another set of conversation that is not helpful to the elections. All right? And these are the questions we're honestly asking, that please, let us just be candid and open with each other. That it's an environment that we all appreciate. Can we all do what we should? Because Parliament then is not playing, and it was one of the issues I raised. Is Parliament doing its job? On this occasion, it's failed. On the campaign financing, it's failed. On making sure that we have a conducive environment for the elections is still a question out there.
Or on pending bills for which matters that should be addressed are actually being addressed, because we have so many things pending that would actually make a difference.
Failing.
Addressed.
Frank, we thank you very much for joining us today. Frank Mukwanja is the Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, Kenya. We were talking about the political parties amendment bill that's before Parliament that's attracting heated debate. heated debate will be back on the floor of the House tomorrow. It's 3 minutes to 9 o'clock. We want to thank our audience on KTN Home who've joined us this hour. Join us again tomorrow morning. But the conversation continues on SpiceFM up to 10 a.m. The Situation Room is live streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. And also, it's on SpiceFM. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. SpiceFM, Nakuru. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
The conversation continues at 1.5 minutes to 9 o'clock. Well, this whole thing of, MPs, what MPs want, whether it is the same as what the people want, is a whole new conversation. But then the thing is, the electorate appeared not to have any kind of power.
Or any idea
they're endorsing They're endorsing what's happening in Parliament. What's happening in Parliament? If you tell us it's for our benefit, we trust you, we believe
without interrogating it and asking exactly what is going on here. Or is there, again, a political smokescreen so that you don't really understand what's happening here? So we're not going to... Because the knowledge with which then to enforce your power is non-existent, then you're not going to enforce it. If you have no idea what's going on, are you really going to go and then poke nose and interrogate in terms of, so why is this happening in this manner when you're not really sure what's going on?
Like Frank said, the demand side of our political multi-party democracy process is non-existent. Where we lack issue-based campaigns and issue-based discussions because we do not want to engage on issues.
It's ugly.
That requires me to actually dedicate time and energy into that.
Resources.
Just come, entertain me, go. That's enough. Points of questions back at us.
Here we go. We're back there.
Yeah, we're back there.
How much do you really want to be involved in the decisions or the issues that then affect you as an individual, as a unit of society?
Conversations continues into the next hour. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The Spice FM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Lamu Senator Anwar Loitiptip is asking security agencies to move with speed and investigate the heinous killings that left 6 people dead. He says that innocent Kenyans should not be killed nor live in fear, especially in a country that has security operators that should protect them and their properties. He says those involved must be arrested and justice served.
Just humbly to request all the security programs to be vigilant and to beef up security. Hiyo area yote ya Witu, Pandanguo, Salaluma, Pangani, Tendemke, hiyo ni infiltration ya Boni Forest. If you have intelligence so that you can pick up the right two people. Si watu ambao kibati ambao unakuta labda mtu ameshikwa, lakini mtu kama amepanga, anajua au yuko katika orodha ya wale watu ambao wanashukiwa, lazima mkondo wa sheria ituvike. Hatuwezi kubali msimu wa kisiasa kama hii.
Now, a suspect wanted for defilement has been arrested in Maragua, Muranga County in an incident that brought Maragua town to a standstill. Andrew Ngugi Wairimu alias Makai was cornered after escaping from lawful custody on June 4th, 2021. The 20-year-old suspect was arrested last year for gang rape and has 2 separate defilement charges pending before Kisumu law courts. Consequently, a warrant for his arrest was issued by the same court. According to a Directorate of Criminal Investigations report, the police officers who had gotten wind of Makai's whereabouts ambushed him at the border of Maragua Township, but he resisted arrest and attempted to flee. Determined to bring the rape suspect to justice, one of the officers engaged in the operation shot shot him on the left buttock, bringing to an end Bakai's 6 months of temporary freedom. The suspect is currently admitted at Maragua Sub-County Hospital. Meanwhile, detectives based in Murang'a South have taken up the matter and are preparing the suspect's file to arraign him immediately he leaves the hospital. Now, Lugaga Ward Representative Victor Bulemi has distanced himself from the statement doing rounds that he is behind a scheme to impeach Vihiga Governor Wilbur Tichilo. He says that the forged letter allegedly submitted to the speaker is aimed at tarnishing his name by his political nemesis.
There has been propaganda doing rounds on social media that I and the majority whip are planning an impeachment motion against His Excellency the Governor of Vihiga. And I've made it categorical that I have no such plans. I do not intend to start any process of impeachment. I'm aware that in the County Assembly of Vihiga currently we do not have any effort towards that, and even if it were, then you can trust my word, it would have been a better document than what it's doing rounds. So I'm sure, and from evidence, that there are individuals either at the assembly or at the executive or propagandists out there who are keen at having my name portrayed in a certain manner.
He now wants police officers to investigate those behind the letter.
And I've called on the police to investigate this matter so that we can bring to book whoever started up this propaganda. And if he has interests of impeachment, then he should come out clearly and be able to clearly state and be able to open up to the people of Vihiga. Because my signature has been forged, as I've seen on the impeachment motion doing rounds. And I've released this statement to ensure that I assure my people that I do not want to participate in such a process. And the people will have to decide on which governor they actually want.
Still on matters politics, and after a tour of Trans Nzoia County yesterday, Deputy President William Ruto is today taking the Hustler campaigns to Kakamega and Bungoma counties. The DP is expected to kick off his series of rallies and stopovers in Likuyani, Kakamega County. He will then head to Tongaren, Webuye East and Webuye West in Bungoma. After that, the DP is scheduled to return to Kakamega, where he will address residents of Lugari, Navakholo and Shinyalu. Now, thousands of U.S. schools, including in some major cities, have delayed this week's scheduled return to classrooms following the holiday break or switch to remote learning as the Omicron variant of the coronavirus drives record levels of COVID-19. In New Jersey, which has seen some of the highest case rates of any state in recent weeks, most urban districts have implemented virtual classes to start the new year, including Newark, which has nearly 38,000 students. Milwaukee's public school system announced that its more than 70,000 students would switch to virtual learning from today due to a rise in COVID-19 infections among staff members. Cleveland schools have also gone remote, while Detroit cancelled classes through Wednesday. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Arseto.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We're coming to the end of traffic hour, and then Industrial Area decided that let's do something for Tuesday. So there's a little bit of traffic in and outbound on Lunga Lunga, and Likoni, there's nothing going towards the interchange on Mombasa Road. Jogo Road still has a little bit of traffic here and there, but where we're looking at the highest is on Haile Selassie this morning, and that started very, very early. Landis Road also started early, and that is still a thing. The CBD quite packed this morning, and Uhuru Highway also at certain junctions is where we have an issue. Thika Superhighway, that issue around Pangani, that has been sorted out. Coming out of Westlands also, the dot of traffic continues on Waiaki Way, but it's moving, so it's not too much of an issue. All right, so shall we keep talking through the day? Let's see what it looks like in half an hour. We'll be out of traffic hour, and hopefully we can continue smoothly through the afternoon. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start
It
your
is
day.
coming up to 8 minutes after 9. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. Thank you very much for keeping it locked on SpiceFM or online, SpiceFM KE, on YouTube or Facebook. SpiceFM KE are the handles for the two pages. So this morning it's Eric Latiff and Ndu Okoh. CT Muga is away. He's still not crossed over into the year. He decided...
I'm going to be in 2021 for a while.
Yes, it's a true story. Today's proverb is a Somali proverb. One doesn't tell a man, go away, but one shows him something so that he'll go. One doesn't tell a man, go away. One shows him something so that he will go. Many interpretations to this.
Indeed.
What do you have?
There are many ways to skin a cat. You know, I don't necessarily have to shout and prance about. I can employ other tactics to get what I want. Be creative.
Works better for you that way. It works better for you that way, not to be aggressive.
Or confrontational.
Confrontational,
really.
yes.
Yeah,
You don't have to be confrontational. You want someone to move? Yeah, move. It's okay. Find a way of actually getting them to move. Let them think it's their decision while you actually influence their
You're the
decision.
one who played the cards.
Yes, in the decisions that you make.
Yep.
So as we're talking about, our journey and multi-party democracy, how far we've come, what we're doing. Yesterday we were asking, and people called in and were participating even on social media on the dreams and aspirations for Kenya in 2022. One thing that was clear was people are urging one another to be more active, become more engaged. Frank Mukwanja, when he asked him the journey of multipartyism in this country and where we are as a people, and whether we have issue-based politics and why we don't have issue-based politics, he said, issues come at number 4. Number 1 was tribe. Number 2?
Money.
Number 3?
I wrote it down, actually. Number 3 is gender.
Mm-hmm.
No, technology.
Technology.
Money, technology, and ethnicity come before
issues. So and why? Because the politician looks for the easy way out. Number 1, if I whip up emotion about our tribe, we the people, it's time for our people, we need to go, we need to have, then we focus on tribe. Because it's about identity.
Yep.
The second thing is money. Dish out money. That whole conversation about political party financing, election campaigns financing, thrown out because people are looking for a way, an easy way. I give you money.
You're on my side.
You will not ask me any questions.
Yes.
The third issue is taking advantage of technology. I don't have to engage you one-on-one. I'll send you a WhatsApp message, some banners on WhatsApp. I'll use technology to reach many people. I'll live stream the rallies that I'm having. So people are no longer now coming to attend political rallies. They are engaging in various groups where you have 1 or 2 people who are like WhatsApp group administrators and they are your campaign managers. And all you do is engage those people, shape their opinion, and they're on your side.
Indeed.
Issues, number 4. Why? Because we do not want to discuss issues. We don't want to deal with the nitty-gritty.
You don't want to engage beyond your responsibility for the day.
It's too much. No. And this is a conversation that we've even had before here. And a friend of mine called Ed wants to, there's something we have done that we're failing ourselves and we think it's a politician. We keep pointing at the politician, but maybe it's us who fail. We look for the solutions. We're very quick to find our solutions. So you are somewhere and you're finding the public school system around you is not working. What do? You get a private system for your child and you take your children to private school. Whether they're using 844, a different system, It's okay. They're not going to that congested classroom, where there no teachers, where there is no chalk, whether I'll take them to this particular group of schools, whatever. It works for me. I can afford it. The other one is healthcare. So there's no working public health system in your area. And instead of raising the question, why don't we have a functioning dispensary here? A level 2, level 3 hospital in our area. What do? You see this big brand coming and establishing, and you're like, oh, us guys, we are okay. I mean, we have so and so. I mean, what do we have in our neighborhood? We have this school has a branch here. We have this hospital has a branch here. I mean, we're living well. Transport is not working. What do? You look for a vehicle, you buy a car, and you're stuck there, and you're using that, and I don't have to be stuck on this. It doesn't work for me. So we find solutions. It doesn't. We have issues with security, private security
companies.
You have issues with the sewer system. You just build houses, put up
your own private one, and you call what are those exhauster to
come and sort you out, and you don't even care where it takes it.
Nope.
None of your business. So it becomes one of those things that even as we're looking today at a story that says that if we look at how much people are spending as people's income rises, the so-called middle class, what is defining them is their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. They're drinking more, they're spending more on luxury because they want to show off. And if you listen to conversations among the people, you talk about where you live, where your children go to school, where you work. That's what defines you. It's not anything else. So we are finding ways of sorting out our issues when the government fails. And we think the government has failed. We are the ones who are failing.
The question then is, what are people expected to do? Because as I think about it, the initial answer is then, this is not working. What you must do is you come together and then you start to put pressure on the would-be government where you have representatives on the ground who are there to be able to hear your needs and make sure that those issues are sorted out, right? It shouldn't have to get to that people push you to say, look, this particular road has been a mess since whatever. We shouldn't have to go barricade the streets. We shouldn't have to say we're going to block the road if this is not working. But these things take time. And as that time is being taken to lobby your leader to do what they ought to do, you continue to suffer. The cars still have to drive down the dilapidated road. You still have to look for healthcare for your sick. Your children still have to go to school. The sewage is bursting and still something must be done. All these things are happening and are going south while you're still lobbying these individuals to get it done. So can you see the apathy then people will have towards this lobbying kind of thing? Because how long is it going to take? For crying out loud. But you say, okay, let's contribute to the road before the government decides when they're going to reach us in terms of its development of roads within this particular area. Yeah. Okay, let's just contribute. We'll make it happen.
Let's just do this road. Let's
just
do
it
road,
so that at least our roads will not, our vehicles will not.
And it's easier for us to get home. It reduces incidences of crime.
While government figures out what they want to do. Without realizing that what you're doing is that you're handicapping yourself even more. By saying that, all right, because essentially you're doing the job that you put them there to do in the first place. So you are then stuck in a very difficult position, if you ask me. Do you take up your civic responsibility and say, push this individual who has been given the job to do this thing to get these things done? Or do we say, you know what, right now, what I'm looking for is the immediacy of comfort. It's urgent. I need it done now. My child is sick. They've told me here, if I come here, I have to go and look for medicine for 10,000 shillings instead of being able to get everything here. So no. What do? I contribute a little bit more every month. I get private medical insurance. I can go anywhere. I get sorted, right? This public school is not going to work for me. So I go find a private school, right? The immediacy of comfort, obviously, many times fuels the actions that people, or the desire for that comfort, fuels the decisions that people make. Because now having to lobby your local leader, for example, having to make noise to your government will take time. By the time they listen to you and say, okay, no, this noise people are making is too much, let's do something about it, it'll take some time, right?
Too much.
And then we have to chase them every day. Then we have a meeting. We have to meet Akina Eric. We've said we're going to meet again today, and then we're going to march to Mavoko, right? Oh, we're going to march to Kilimani. Well, and I have to go to work. Do you see? It's too difficult, man. I have to involve myself and other people. We have to go, talk, write, email, correspond, rally people together. No. And my child needs it today.
So I'll cough a little bit more.
So I'll add a little bit more because then I don't have to deal with that drama. And I can now drive on the road. They've graded the road with my 500 bob that all 1,000 of us have contributed. It's okay. The road is working until the next time it gets spoiled. Without realizing that you handicap yourself even more by not insisting that this thing is done. The people who contribute to a road, do you know that every year, for every road, in every sub-county, that there is a road maintenance budget? Do you ask yourself where it goes? That it has been allocated. Something should be done. I like the statement that Shirage has made just now. The Kenyan middle class think kuomoka is what we need as a country. So they will never fight for better services because it's not them who are affected. It's the other Kenyans. But even when you are affected, you say, no. Me, stand up from where I am, where I can be watching my
I'm a
whatever.
lone voice. I mean, it's going to take so much.
It's too much.
It's too much because I've got to convince others and then I've got to dedicate my time to go and push for this. It's cumbersome.
The interesting thing, though, however, is that we reserve the right to complain then when things go even further south.
Of course, we are complaining.
Yeah. We don't do anything about it when we have the opportunity to. But then somebody's going to come and put a factory in a residential area. Meanwhile, there was a note for public participation that was pasted on walls around the area. And you people were told, look, these people want to come and put up an industry here in a residential area. Come and tell us your views. Tell us what you think. Are you okay with it? Nobody comes because, after all, it's Saturday and we ought to watch football and do some other things. And you know what, really, how much will my voice affect the situation? You don't go. 3 months down the line, said industry up, smoke billowing everywhere. Children can't sleep at night. What do? Put yourself in your vehicle, drive on your Maram Road through which you contributed, take your medical insurance, which you paid an extra 5,000 shillings every month, take your child to private hospital. Whereas they called you could have done something about it, but you didn't, because you know what? It's a little bit too much.
But why aren't they doing what they're supposed to do, those who are supposed to do what they're supposed to do?
Why?
Why aren't they doing it?
The natural thing is not to. I gave you a job, you do it, Abi?
Yes. I give you a job, you do it. Somebody else has given me a job and they're paying me at the end of them every month and they make sure that I do it. And I know what I'm supposed to do. I do it. I don't do it, I get fired.
Yeah.
You don't do it, I'll fire you in 5 years' time and put somebody else.
But you got 5 years to still play around and do whatever it is that you want.
So is it that then we are shooting ourselves in the foot? We sell ourselves short.
Yes.
Every time we seek an alternative solution to public, what should be available to us via public means, we are then selling ourselves short.
But look at something that you bring up often, Eric. You talk about the collection of garbage as a public amenity, right? Public service facilities. People dump. Why should you harp on people who dump? Why have you not provided garbage disposals for people? It is your job. If you don't do that, you can't blame people for throwing garbage where they see fit. Every estate in this country that has a private developer, what have they done? They have enlisted the services of private garbage collectors, which is a purview of the city, by the way, which the city is supposed to be doing.
The city found a clever way of making it, participatory.
So we say, okay, so now people are going to pay a service charge. We'll pay the service charge because you know what? I don't want the filthy garbage outside of my gate. I don't want that. So let's pay a little bit extra. The city is supposed to be, the city, that means the government, is supposed to be cleaning up and making sure that these things are provided for. But, maybe we can't handle it because it's just too cumbersome and there's too many in terms of numbers. So you as private developers, what you do, include it in your services, in your service charge, have people pay a little bit extra, and then all these private companies come together and then we go dump garbage in some big dump site somewhere. Problem solved, right? No. Said garbage now starts to infiltrate the city's sources of water. It's a ripple effect. It's a domino effect in other areas. I do think, actually, in as much as what we are seeking is the immediacy of comfort, that what we are doing is actually shooting ourselves in the foot. because you've been doing it all this time. True story right here. A private developer wanted to make sure that the road from the estate that she built till the main road was sorted out. She went to said county and said, you know what? I want to sell my houses, right?
Yeah.
This road is a stumbling block to me because people will not drive down this road. They will not see my houses. They will not buy.
Yep.
The value of my houses depreciates. Okay? I want me
to do the road.
I want to do the road.
No. This is a county road.
Said no.
This is a
that
county
is our
road.
responsibility.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. It's a county road.
It's
You're
a
the
county
ones
road.
to
You
do
can't just go and touch county roads.
However, if you
talk to us,
facilitate, we'll allow you do the road. Can you imagine such nonsense? Auntie said, no. I want to do the road, then I give you something again so that I can make the road for you.
The road.
It's not happening.
So let's open the phone lines, 0719-012-600. Gabriel Mwangi says, guys, planning laws are not followed. Associations ensure public participation is done, and yet clubs are put up in residential areas as well as loud churches and factories. Okay. So here's the one thing. So what happens to the people around that area? What do? They move.
They move. We don't deal with the problem. We run away from it. Or we try our best to kind of sort it out. So you then start to live in silos.
Yeah. We've seen the residents of Kilimani, for example, over time, complaining about the noise in their neighborhood from these entertainment clubs and all.
Yeah.
And action is taken, and then there's somebody else from City Hall who's a godfather who allows the club to continue operating. And then there's been this back and forth. Eventually, people despair because those in office know, if I insist on this, you will not outlast me.
Did we not, in this studio, have a conversation with a gentleman whose son died because of fumes that were coming from a factory very close to a residential area? Today, go to the estate. Half of the population has moved out.
People moved
because they tried to use the law, they tried to use the environmental body and the association and the courts. Till today, that thing is still in court. So are you going to wait for that whole court process to play out, compel these people to stop production in a residential area, or are you going to care again for the immediate solution that you need for people to stop coughing at night?
Because immediately, you, as every single day you stay there, you're endangering your own family.
Absolutely. So what happens? You move. Soon, you'll have an empty estate and the factory will continue operating. People sort out the solutions as opposed to insisting that those responsible do something about it.
So we run away.
Run away from the problem.
We run away from the problem. And this is not helping us. Because many of those people who have moved out actually bought houses.
Yes. But they can't
That's
stand
their
it.
investment.
But they can't
and you
sleep
cannot
at
sell it now because as well.
Who's going to buy it? But you can't sleep at night. Your children cannot breathe properly. There's soot in your house.
Are we selling ourselves short when we do not confront and demand the government to provide the services that it should? When we do that, when we, just keep quiet, when we agitate, we organize, we move out of the estate, we organize, we get out of this area because, there are no good public schools. The road is bad, so we move somewhere else because now this is closer to a private hospital, closer to this very good brand of private school, closer to this very good brand. Is this what we're doing and encouraging the government to continue being government? And this is not doing the job that the government should be doing. 0719-012-600. Shurage also says the Kenyan middle class, the public amenities are working. It's the mentality that we have of consumerism that I've visited a public school and 2 health centers. Very well maintained in their functioning. Tell us where this is, Shurage, and then how many people are actually aware of this and attending these facilities. How many? If you go to Kilimani, yes, the population of Kilimani, for example, has grown. How many public schools do we have in Kilimani, apart from Kilimani Primary that has been there forever?
For yonks, yeah.
Many people will tell you they went to Kilimani Primary, they would not take their children to Kilimani Primary. Many who went to Kileleshwa, they'll not take their children to
Nairobi
a public school that's right there. Kileleshwa or Nairobi Primary, at least people are taking their children there.
Yeah.
Kileleshwa, how many are taking? Why? Is it because of what we feel? I have risen in class, so I deserve finer things in life, so I'm going to pay for the better things in life. Or is it our way of running away from confronting the fact that I should be having a good public school in my neighborhood. I should be having a good public health facility in my neighborhood. I should be having a good road leading to my neighborhood. I should be having proper security arrangements in my neighborhood, even if we're talking about community policing. But then I should know this is how we are dealing with the National Police Service in the neighborhood. This is how we are dealing as an estate management in a neighborhood. These are the questions that we are asking you. Please call us and let's have this conversation. Victoria in Eldoret, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Victoria.
How are you?
We're very well, thanks.
Thank you so much. This is Victoria from Eldoret.
Yes.
And I don't think Kenya will lack laws. Neither do we lack business. But I think there's not that good faith of implementing what is there. For example, we normally travel daily. And we see the traffic officers being bribed. We as the passengers in the car, we don't speak of it. It's just a norm. Everywhere you go, you see it and nothing. So we need to understand that we as the citizens, we have a responsibility. And at the same time, the government has got its own responsibility. And if we fail as the citizens, then it becomes difficult for a government to force or to do something which will make us abide by the set standards. Again, we need to have a good, that's something called utmost good faith. For example, you have talked about our schools. When you compare maybe the private sector and those in the public, you will find out that even today the schools have been reopened, but there is nothing, learning is not there taking place for around 3 weeks. But what about the private? Immediately. So I think that the government needs to come up with a more strict measures to ensure that what is there is being enforced. And again, those in the political class, they have said that it is not good to bribe the citizens now where we are heading to elections. But you will find out that people are going to elect leaders based on what they give, but not on what they give as an agenda or as a manifesto.
It's the money.
For example, I stand and I say that I have a good aspiration, maybe for this county to run a Senate seat, and I have no money, then I will never be elected as compared to other countries like UK, US, where people are elected based on their manifestos. So people here are being bribed. The same tribalism that you earlier said, which plays a very big role. The first thing they ask, for example, you say, my name is Victoria. Victoria, Victoria who?
Victoria who?
So the next thing they want to hear, I'm Victoria Cherop. Oh, so you are a Kalenjin. So they will say, no, here maybe in Trans Nzoia, and we will never elect you. We will elect Cherop. If you are Cherop, go to Nandi, Kericho, or Bomet. Here, no. So you find out that tribalism play a key role. And I don't know, the government has tried to eradicate but I think they are using laws. They are using these politicians to pass laws, and these politicians are the greatest beneficiaries of this tribalism thing. So they are going to work hard to sabotage, to ensure that it becomes more hard for people to be elected who maybe they are not from that tribe.
That's true. Thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Asante sana. 0719-012-600. Something Victoria has introduced that we actually have failed. It's failure in government or failure by citizens?
I think it's a shared failure. You can't place it completely in the hands of one part because there's a responsibility on both sides.
On both sides. It's 9:30. Let's take this quick break and then continue picking your calls. 0719-012-600.
(24/7) around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
My number one Nairobi life hack, InDriver. It's an app I use to save on rides. With InDriver, I get to negotiate what I'm willing to pay for every trip I take. I love to get the best deal, and that's why I always order my rides with InDriver. I get to choose whether I want a boda ride or a car ride. And I can even choose the car as well. No need to overpay for a better vehicle. Then, I pick my own driver based on their ratings. This means I can feel safer on each ride because I know who's on the wheel. Try InDriver for yourself. Ride smarter and spend smarter. Download the InDriver app on the App Store or on Google Play. The InDriver online passenger transportation aggregator is not a taxi service. Find more information at www.indriver.com.
Forgiveness is always conditional. Even before God, there's nothing like unconditional forgiveness.
Government doesn't pay you pension until you retire. In fact, they have no money for you. The day you retire, they look for it.
This country is punishing many young people. These young people are more susceptible to be deceived, to be taken advantage of, and they're more susceptible to be bought off.
Let us also talk about where we want our country to go. You know, we are a population of very young people.
We're in a state of capture. The judiciary is under duress. Parliament is in the pocket of the executive. You don't sit and wait for the regime to topple itself. It will never do so.
By the way, let me tell you, these guys are so persuasive. I'm telling you, they can persuade you to sell your grandmother. I'm telling you, they can sell sand in the desert.
City, has anybody on this program said to you as a guest, say, "Oh, shut up, we don't want to be told what to do"? Has you ever that kind of... Has anybody been
I will not listen.
A bit of advice? Because you're working on the premise that we should all pay heed to these proverbs. It's a very suspect notion.
This is the Situation Room.
Sunny conditions
The
now in
only
Nairobi
way.
at 20, highs of 26 and lows of 16. It's mostly sunny at 19 in Nakuru City, highs of 29 and lows of 14. Nyeri is partly sunny at 17 with highs of 24. We'll see lows of 11. Eldoret is partly sunny through today at 17, highs of 26 and lows of 11. Mombasa is sunny at 28, highs of 32 and lows of 26. Malindi, mirroring that of Mombasa, 28. However, it'll go to highs of 32. It's mostly sunny in Kisumu at 24. We'll see highs of 29. It'll come down to lows of 19. 16 will be the low in Kakamega, where it's mostly sunny at 23 and it'll go to highs of 31. Let's take a look into Kampala, where it's 22 and mostly cloudy, highs of 28 and lows of 17. It's raining in Dar es Salaam at 29, highs of 32 and lows of 27. Partly sunny conditions at 17 in Johannesburg, highs of 25 and lows of 15. While in Lagos, it's still hazy at 24, it'll go to highs of 33. It's a rainy morning and it continues at 22 in Kinshasa. Highs of 29 and lows of 22. 8 degrees and a rainy Paris morning, highs of 10 and lows of 2. There's a flash flood warning in hand, and we're looking into London, where it's cloudy at 9. 9 is what it looks like as the highs and lows. -4 in New York, very early Tuesday, Wednesday morning. We'll see highs of just 2 and lows of -4.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM.
All right, we should be coming out of traffic hour now, but we didn't really have traffic in most parts of the city today. We're looking at Lunga Lunga, and that continues. Joggo Road seems to be ebbing out just a little bit. Landis Road has been heavy since we started this morning, coming to Kamkunji, and that has been quite packed on Haile Selassie Avenue today, and that continues in and outbound. Uhuru Highway is now packing up quite some, especially after the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, and Langata Road seems to be waking up now. Some traffic as you get to the roundabout. Raila Odinga Way looks pretty good as you then join at Gong Road. Let's take a quick look at Kisumu now, moving out west, where there was an accident that happened right around Kolunga Primary School along Katito Ahero Junction on the Kisumu-Kisi Highway. No casualties reported, but it's a pretty ugly sight. Heading in that direction, please watch out for that so that you don't become one of the casualties. Okay? Talk to us through the morning on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's text on 40127. Keep things moving this Tuesday.
Spice FM, Nakuru. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
719-012-600. Please call in. We're talking about the middle class. And this whole idea of, seeking alternatives at the slightest for, what did you call it? Comfort?
Yes, the immediacy of comfort.
Immediacy of comfort. So, you don't like the school in your neighborhood, you find a school for your children, you take them to a private school. You don't like the healthcare, public health facilities in your neighborhood, you take private health insurance, you take your family to private hospitals. Security issues, you look for private security company. You want to live in this gated community. You have issues with, public transport, so you buy yourself a vehicle. So you are spending all these things in doing this. Are we encouraging the government by doing that? If the government is not providing all these services, then you seek alternatives. You basically are substituting the government in the government's job. Is that the way we're doing? And by doing that, are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Because we do not want to confront the government and tell the government, we need a health facility here. We need a working public school.
We don't want to actually put in the work to get it done. A responsibility that's born. I think of how, a baby's growing and you put the baby in a walker. A baby will be naturally inclined to walk, right? So what you're doing by putting it in the walker is that you're encouraging the process.
Yeah.
And that's what I see this as. That you must encourage the process. We know that there's somebody there who's supposed to do the job. In the event that they're not doing it, must we then get so uncomfortable with the situation as it is and say, come on, my friends, we cannot continue like this. After all, what are you doing here? You either walk or you walk. What's it going to be? Walk or walk?
Choose one. Karanja in Naivasha, good morning.
Good morning, Eric Ndu.
Good morning.
Yes, how is your morning?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Yes, mine is fine.
Yes.
And I think this issue of people living in a comfort zone, living in a comfortable zone, I think this is the problem that we are having in this Kenya. Look at the common mwananchi. They wake up very early in the morning to go and vote a senator, a member of parliament, a governor, or the president. But the thing, these people, when we vote the MP, who said that the MP should live in Nairobi? Who said the senator should live in Nairobi? Look at the issue of the MCAs. Like, for instance, I voted an MCA in a Biashara ward. He have now vacated. He lives in Nakuru. So
how do you find him?
To find him is a quagmire. Even calling him is a problem. Who said that these MPs, these senators should live in Nairobi in Runda? This is the work of their hands. They should come here in the local constituency level, local level, so that they can enjoy our hospitals. Let them come here in the level 5 hospital. Let them queue and see the difficulties that the Naivasha constituents that they are going through. The issue of the MCA, we have some issues.
But
the
then, Karanja,
yes?
all these things you're saying what the leaders are expected to do. What about you, Karanja? When the leader does not do this, what do? You seek alternatives.
Exactly, but I should believe, Eric. This is our country, and this is where we are born. I think what you should do, Kenyans should forget to say that we have this president. Let us now think like how the country like Switzerland do. They don't know their president. They know the member of county assembly. They know the member of parliament. They know the senator, if there is a senator there, I don't know. And the governor. So that these people, we can put them to account. And even the roads that we are passing should be passed there, even the schools. And I think we should do away with these private issues, private hospitals, private schools, private secondary schools. I think we should do away with this so so that it can be one thing.
Okay.
Whether it's a public school, even the MP, I think the MP should, her daughter or her son should go to the private school. Thank you very much.
Asante Karanja. Robert in Nandi, good morning.
Good morning, too.
Good morning.
How are you people?
We're very well, thanks. Robert, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey. Are we running away and shooting ourselves in the foot by not being active citizens?
Facts be told. Most of this government money is channeled through our leaders, through some kitty. Yeah, a lot of our money from government is channeled through some kitties like CDF in the county. So when you guys are telling people to look for private solutions, how do guys construct a road like a tarmac road now may be going over 1.5 million per kilometer? Maybe I'm in the village here and possibly we are having a problem over some passage of a section of a road. So how do you think I can be able to mobilize our own here in the village to be able to raise 1.5 million Kenyan shillings to construct a section of a road just because the county government or the government has refused to look at that road? So at the end of it all, I think it is the way the Kenyan society has been brought up. And then the behavior of our leaders. That thing of acting like, let's help one another, it's gone in this country. Everybody on his own and God for us all.
So
even the leaders themselves, the way they act, I was looking at a case of buying buses for schools. And then I just went into looking at the facts about it. It's like the MPs who are buying those buses are getting a kickback from the companies that are selling the buses. And it is not even helping the communities. Because at the end of the day, that bus is left with the parents to be able to offset the loan that was used to take that bus. So this guy, what he does is he just pays a deposit using the kitty, which is the CDF, to be able to get the kickback. Alafu hiyo ingine inakuwa shida ya wazazi. It's not about helping them.
So then, Robert, are you saying that we should just give up and say, okay, every man for himself, so I'm not going to question the MP? If you've discovered that this is what is happening, Robert, why can't you mobilize the other parents in a school, for example, and say, look, guys, if we need a bus, we shall find a way of buying a bus and not using our own money through CDF that's coming in as a deposit, and this person is basically just benefiting. He's pushing the bus down our throat, which is not our priority at this particular point.
My friend, you are one of those guys. We were here with you in 2013.
Yes.
The guys who sang Jubilee in Nandi County. The same guys who are now crying. Saying, huyu mtu wa kwenda hatumtaki. Now, look at it like this. I think apart from religion, politics should be classified as an opium of the poor. Kabisa, Wamana, right now, even as we discuss, we are very sober. We are looking at things factually, discussing it logically. But let's talk about this thing again, maybe 2 weeks to election time. All these facts should be, itakuwa imewekwa huko hizo ni takataka. Who is ours? Who is from my tribe? Who has more money? Nani amenishughulikia? And that is all. Nothing about can we solve our problems?
All right. Thank you, Robert.
So, just as the speaker said, of course, mukichagua cabbage, you get cabbage.
What's in goes out. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Asante. Mwalimu Irongo.
Yes, good morning, Eric.
Happy New Year, Irongo Amos.
Happy New Year, Ndu.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I had a slight touch of malaria.
Oh, no.
But I've recovered. I'm well. I'm waiting to go to school tomorrow.
Good to hear that.
Yes. Now, first, allow me to congratulate you on the very, very important issues you are canvassing on SpiceFM. In fact, I one time said on this radio again that I wish these people would be listening. And when I talk about people here, I mean the middle class. Now, it is unfortunate that we in the middle class have refused to take these guys to account. Because one thing I'm very sure of is that if all the teachers, the nurses, all these people that are in the middle class, we all know them. If we came together and called one person and told him, okay, we understand that you want to become our MCA in this area, we don't want you to tell us what you will do for us. We want this road here marked.
Yes.
We want to see this and that done. And when you go to the county assembly, we want to hear this and that. I'm very sure these guys will go into that assembly. At the back of their mind, they will know that we shall be held to account. Unfortunately, as you and Ndu, and I want to congratulate you again and again, have put it, all of us in the middle class, in fact, almost all of us, have run away. We have sought ways of doing what government should do.
Yeah.
And left the politics to the poor as the immediate last call has said. So then at the end of the day, my children are in a private school. I found a way of navigating my way to school. And I know where to go to hospital and so on and so forth. So what remains then is that every other person in the village are following money. And finally, please, there is one thing I want to say.
Yes.
The middle class of this country, please, wherever you are in your local setting, Eric, I can assure you we are doing something about it around the Ogembo area where I come from, and where I fortunately, we are doing it, but already we can see. Do you know what about 2 weeks has been going on? We have these guys that we elect in teachers' unions. Instead of them supporting us to demand services, we have so many of them now. In fact, one is notably going to drink with some politician. And when he comes around, he's telling us, no, this is our person. You know, so I asked him one time.
After he has imbibed.
I asked him kindly, can you tell us what this person has done? He told me, you see, he has done nothing, but you see, this person is coming from our village. Then I told him, that's like telling me to marry a woman because I have a lot of mercy on that woman. But I don't love her.
Yeah.
So very soon I will call and tell you what some of us have done and what we have achieved in bringing our people together to tell them that we want to demand services.
Yes.
But I'm begging, I actually want to implore and beseech the middle class of this country. These other people around may not have a way of bargaining of demanding services.
That's very true. That's very true. And I thank you very much for the work that you're doing, and especially now looking at teachers in Ogembo and in other areas.
Exactly.
You can come together and you say, we are a force.
We can do this.
We can do something. Thank you very much, Mwalimu. We look forward to hearing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I shall be back to you.
Asante. Alex in Nairobi.
Yes.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning to you, Eric Ndu. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, now I'm calling you from Waraka in Nairobi.
Yes.
And I get to sometimes involve myself in a little bit of politics and governance around here.
Good.
And when such topics arise, I feel that I'm touched somewhere that I should also comment something.
Yes. Karibu.
Yeah. Now, according to me, I feel that we are blaming or we are shifting so much burden of blame to people, which should be carried by our leader. You see, it is out of disappointment from our leadership that you find that Kenyans have started developing a certain character or behaviors, trying to find some quick fix solutions. Because our responsibility is to elect them, to go and represent us. given them the mandate.
Mm-hmm.
But now you find that these people, majority of them, are not doing what they've been elected to do.
Yeah.
And you find that the development that is supposed to take like 4 months, it's taking 10 years. We need like a hospital. You see, in Roraka, we have a ward.
Yeah.
There is a ward without a public school, without a public hospital, without a public ground, without anything.
And it's an entire ward.
An entire ward.
Madness.
Telling you.
Tell me, what do you expect from the people?
I expect.
And we have an MP.
Yeah.
We have an MP who's been there for 10 good years.
So, Alex, let me ask you. So you say yes, that our job is to elect.
Yes.
But does our job end there?
What's the responsibility in keeping these folks righteous in terms of now getting the job done?
Is there an accountability role that we have?
Yes, exactly. There is. Now, this accountability role or process, it's so tiring and frustrating that people have so many issues that they cannot again spend some other time doing other things like those ones.
Why? What has
And
made
now
it
you find
tiring
that
and frustrating?
the general life, you see the general environment that the leadership created. Heavy taxation, lack of jobs,
Yep.
poor infrastructure. You see, you cannot battle all these things.
Yes.
And again, you come to start doing a follow-up process to somebody whom you gave the mandate.
Yes.
So maybe if I find myself to maybe do something, I do it for myself.
Alex.
Yes.
You see, like you've told us, you are an active citizen and you participate in governance, conversations and activities around Roraka. Okay? So that's why I want to engage you a bit on this. If we look at how easy it is to cast a ballot, it has been made very easy. By who? By the system, the political system. It's very easy. All you need is, once you've registered, just get out with your ID, go to the nearest public school. You'll queue for a short time. You'll cast your ballot. You will go home. Easy peasy, right? And now the job of accountability is what we're saying. It is cumbersome and tiresome. Who has made it cumbersome and tiresome? It is the people who do not want it to be easy for you to hold them accountable. Can we take back the reins and make sure that we, because they are exercising our sovereign power.
Indeed.
Can we take back our sovereignty and make sure that we push for systems that make it very easy for us to hold them accountable?
Because when you start to push, one of two things will happen, is that they will either succumb to the pressure and do something, or they will leave.
Okay, according to maybe us, the people, the accountability processes or things, activities that we understand, according to the Constitution, which I'm not so much familiar with it, sometimes we can recall or petition our leaders.
Yep.
And do you know how that is not an instant coffee?
Of course
it's not, because the political class went to parliament and made it very difficult. However, in addition to recalling, there's the daily accountability or the regular accountability. We have we have a constitution that allows for recall of a non-performing legislature. We have a constitution that calls for public participation in every decision making. So we already have the tools. How can we use those tools to make sure that those tools work for our benefit and not for the benefit of the political ruling class?
We even sent several petitions after we noticed that the CDF money and the sub-county allocations have not been put into good use as it's supposed to be. For instance, we have some cash allocation for environmental management and stuff. We saw a budget that some allocation was done and nothing on the ground. So we had to work with the local groups that deal with the environment to seek some help from NGOs or some other well-wishers who, right now when you come to Roraka, we have some planting of trees going on, cleaning of this Nairobi Madare River. We have a private investor in Lakisama Ward who has offered to construct a road, and the road the construction is going on from his own pocket. You see, now these are things that these are culture. This is now what I needed to tell you. These are culture that is being forced into us, and after maybe some years, that's what we will be. Whereby, if we send you to do something, and you cannot deliver, we will show you we can do it. But come next year, or the next time, we won't trust you with that position. We tell you we need this. If you cannot do that, we won't give you that
give you the position again.
Yeah, we give it to somebody else after we've shown you what we needed or how we needed it to be done.
Okay, I hear you.
So it's not that Kenyans are bad.
Thank you.
Or Kenyans are not participating in anything.
Okay. Asante sana, Alex, and keep doing what you're doing in Ruaraka.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Jim says, the reality is we, the voters, are failures. How do we allow just one person, Nabo, to address us in the rallies without us, hundreds of us in that rally, asking him or her any question? How?
Over and over and over and over
stay
again.
That way until we wake up. That's how you're seeing it. It's very possible for someone to actually brag. Some political campaigns are saying, for example, Raila's itinerary for tomorrow. Leaves here by 11, he'll be here by 12, he'll be here by 12:30, he'll be here by...
Next. He comes and says the word here, move next.
Moving.
Nobody
Ruto,
knows.
today, Sijui is where? From 11 to 3, he'll have traversed a distance of more than 100 kilometers.
Because nobody's asking questions. He
What
comes,
are you
says,
telling people?
drops a nugget here, next.
Twende.
They know nobody's asking.
We move.
Out.
We are joking. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. Join us again tomorrow morning. Say goodbye and what's happening next.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. Sugar and Spice comes in at 11 o'clock with Yolanda and DJ Absolute. And then Quatch will drive you home from 3 till 7. The adults in the room will join you at 7 till 10 p.m. And then we will be back here tomorrow morning at 6.
Indeed. Continue. Today's proverb is a Somali proverb. One does not tell a man, go away, but one shows him something so that he will go away.
The electorate can show leaders and politicians who've been joking around something.
These leaders need to be told, go away.
They can be shown something as well.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely day, folks. See you again tomorrow morning. Eric Latiff and Ndu Okoh signing off. It's now 10 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The Spice FM Newswire is brought to you by